failed music career.
When the politicians keep politicking, before you turn to excessive drinking, spend some time collectively
Politinkering with the show where I don't know, man.
Because the truth is,
I don't know, man.
I just
I don't know, man.
Don't know, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Politinkering.
NPR with Joey Bonier.
I know, your voice is so melodious when you open it up.
I just like to get
It's so
close to the
awesome.
mic and
I
get
love
all
it
of it.
so much.
Well, I'd just like to say a nice personal hello to all my tinks out there. You can, of course... Oh, come on. Oh. Yeah, all right. And you can tweet me at Joe Bonier. Yeah, that's JoeBonier. Thank you. And I like all the hate mail. So if you do hate what I say, please bring it on. I love it. That's my favorite thing.
I have an official hater now.
Really?
Do you really
Yeah.
hate? Oh, the fucking guy?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing?
That's
Sanj.
fun. That's real.
You can mention him here?
I suppose.
That fucking guy.
Yeah.
Sanj.
Well, I like that. At least he's listening.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that's fair.
Well,
That's
for
a good point. You're right.
TBC's got like 20 listeners now, so yeah, he's
He's an important member. You have
Exactly.
to appease him somehow.
He's 1/5 of our entire listenership.
Yeah, well, there you go. Of course, let me introduce our usual host. We have with us across the half round, we have Mr. Sean O'Brien.
Gentlemen.
No, yeah, come on, Sean.
Sorry,
It's all good.
I'm a horrible person.
How we doing, man?
And at the fat fingers over there, we have Mr. Sean On top of your name, Sean Fau-Burnitz.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I'm here.
Well, anyways, the topic du jour today is really going to be music. And
sweet.
yeah.
Caroline.
Fuck yes.
Now, do you like the melodious sound of my voice?
It makes total sense now.
Yeah.
Ba, ba, ba. Wait,
What are you doing?
I was Sweet Caroline.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't.
That's our musical that's
I said sweet, he said Caroline, and then I said ba, ba, but I didn't finish it because I don't know the legality of what we can sing or not.
That's good. We could definitely talk about that later.
Well, yeah, no, now that
Okay.
we talked about it, it's totally legal as far as I understand because we like made commentary
But we
on
can't
it.
sing it.
Well, I mean, like,
Oh, I guess we could sing
yeah,
it.
we
No,
could've-
we would
I
need like
think-
a sync license.
no,
Or
I
is that
think we
film?
could have played that much of it and then talked about it and would have been fair use or public.
How much of it do you have to talk about for it to be fair use? Do you guys know?
As long as it's commentary, I think
yeah,
it's
I'm
fine.
not- yeah. There's,
So we can just sing things now. I can just sing whatever I want right now.
I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I think Weird Al gets away with it. Why can't we do shit?
Well, because he
That's
goes.
parody,
yeah,
though.
it's parody.
That's not.
Oh wait, well,
no,
Oh,
parody
what?
law covers just about anything. So if you're doing parody, we can sing whatever the fuck we want. But
if we're
actually,
Covering?
yeah. So like it's like the words that are copywritten.
I say.
So like that's why the Happy Birthday song was
Right.
So
It's all about the
taboo for some-
songwriters.
Exactly. Yeah, the goddamn Writers Guild.
And those two old women.
Mm-hmm. Damn school teachers.
Yeah.
That's what Warner Brothers hid behind. But
Those sons of bitches.
indeed, man, the evil empire.
Well, okay.
there you go, another one. People of the sun.
Hey man, I will find a conspiracy anywhere
Wait,
you.
do you hate Sony
Oh, no, I was
and
bringing you
Warner
music reference.
Brothers? Do you hate Universal too? Do you hate every major studio?
I hate anyone with money.
Fair enough. The Illuminati.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah. Those
Okay.
are the douchebags with power. I don't have money or power, so I get to hate all of them. Isn't that comedy? Punching upwards.
It'd be funny if, like,
Yeah, that's true.
it'd be really funny if Sean like wins the lottery and then has all this money and he's like, I get to be in the Illuminati now, right? and
He goes to a meeting, no one shows up.
Knocking on the door at the Build-A-Bear.
And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I got money. And they're like, he's like, you're fucking lying to me. You're part of the man. You're part of the man.
He's like, where's my badge?
He's
God
like,
damn it.
I got the.
That's not how it works, man. They let you into a level and then they make you think that's the top level, but that's not really the top level. And then there's other guys that have, the billions of dollars. The lottery's only millionaires.
That's when
true.
I tell you about Xenu.
Yeah, and the volcanoes
The
and the
religion
souls.
one.
And, yep. That's music for you.
Okay.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Wow. Back to music. Okay.
Yuri is staring like fucking the cat, basically, to all listeners out
Yuri
there. Is
Gagarin the cat.
staring hard at me. Yeah, Yuri Gagarin the cat is just fucking eyeballing me hard right now. I don't know why. He's just sitting on the table, but he's staring me down. Anyway,
So
sorry, Joey. Go ahead. What's
no,
up,
it's
man?
okay. I'm going to try to throw this.
What's our topic again?
Your connection to the cat.
Oh. Is it the year of the cat?
Yeah.
Cat's the musical.
Year of the cat. I already did it.
Okay. I see.
I already did it.
see
Year of
what
the cat. I got you.
Okay.
Cat's the
I
musical
see what
cat.
you're doing, guys.
I tried
And
to-
we all said, "Can I do that
You're
now?"
the cat?
I'm
You
the cat. Year of the cat.
That's a thing? Is that a song?
Joey,
I don't know.
Year of the cat.
I never heard of it.
Al Stewart.
Oh, Al Stewart. Yes. I am not an
Year
Al.
of
That's
the
like a
cat.
blind spot
Oh.
for
He's
me.
got like 2 songs.
I know.
Not worth anything. That's one of them.
I thought there was a different. Yeah, no, I know the song. I thought there was a different title to it though. or
What's his
something
other
like
hit?
Lord Granville, I want to say.
Lord Granville.
I think so.
Okay.
Or maybe that's. I only know that because that was the first song in the album.
I was tempted to fact check that, but then I thought, I don't care.
I don't know if it's his hit, but it's definitely that's one of his songs.
Fair enough.
It's the only other one I know.
Okay. Well, let me throw out
Sorry.
a list of questions
Go ahead.
that we,
Yeah, do
that
our
we
rant.
usually do before,
Right.
so we can get our little structure out of the way here. So I'll give you a couple questions here. Why do we listen to music? Why is music important in our lives? Why do we play instruments in general? Why do we like to play instruments? Why do we teach our children to play instruments? What sort of education should we have in music? Meaning, like, how early should we start our music education, and what should it be? And apart from that, what kind of bands do you like? What music do you personally like? And kind of why do we divide ourselves by our taste in music? And why are there such kind of serious and harsh divisions when it comes to musical taste? Also, I
Those
just
are great
threw out,
questions, man.
I threw out the last one here about hipsters. I always kind of want to talk about hipsters. So I just kind of want to ask, what music do hipsters listen to, and why is that considered hipster? So we can,
you would know it's totally obscure.
yeah, it's yeah, yeah. It was way before your time.
It was really-
Okay, so I guess we should start with the top one, like
Sure.
why, the more broad one. Why do we listen to music in general? What, Sean Fall? Why do you not listen to music? You do not listen to music at
Well,
all, do you?
I'll start with my favoriteest music quote ever, which is music is the soundtrack to our lives.
Oh, don't say it. Fucking, I only remember it from the Bowling for Columbine documentary. Oh man,
Charles Manson.
It's the Dick Clark.
Yeah, totally.
Boom.
Oh, okay.
I just thought, well, first off, my awakening to his saying that is in Chicago, where I grew up, or in the suburbs. There was a restaurant called the Rock and Roll Bandstand Restaurant,
Yeah.
or something, that was owned by him.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
And the one time I went there, that was like hugely painted on the wall, and I just thought it was like hilariously, I don't know, myopic, or just like, it seems redundant, as in, a soundtrack is the music to something. Like, to say music is the soundtrack of our lives, it's just like,
Yeah, I get
don't
you.
know. It's just,
Oh,
it's
tautological.
yeah, there you go.
Tautological, yeah.
It's just like a weirdly obvious sort
Right.
of pseudo statement that really
Right.
doesn't mean anything but means itself. I don't know. It was,
Yeah.
I was a kid, and it was stupid to me.
It's awesome.
It's bothered me for 30 years.
Music is the soundtrack to view. That's a very good point. It is tautological. It's like, yeah, no fucking shit, dude.
Yeah, Dick Clark's also a douche. Fuck that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the general consensus?
Yeah.
Or?
I also think there was controversy with that specific Dick Clark's restaurant. I think they had like some racism claims, didn't they?
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was
It was like a
racism. I
Cracker
remember it
Barrel
being
kind of thing, or something like that.
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah,
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, I'm
That's
using that as a verb.
racist term.
I think it had something to do with welfare to work programs.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh,
it had something to do
maybe
with
that
that.
was it.
So I don't know if it was
Oh,
necessarily
yeah, that was
well,
from the
I
movie.
think
That was from the
I think it was Bowling
documentary.
for Columbine.
I remember. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm like mixing all my.
It's fair.
references.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it was, and I don't even know if it was necessarily the controversy.
Controversy.
What is that
Ooh.
one?
Prince.
Obviously.
Come on,
Damn
very
it.
topical.
You're right.
Wow,
Very
I cannot
topical, too.
believe you even threw that out there.
Sorry,
Wait,
man.
so you listened to Prince?
Yeah, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were upset when he passed on?
Yeah, I mean, as upset as I get about celebrities for them, I guess Robin
You're
Williams
pro-death, I
actually
thought.
hurt me. But no, I mean, no, I am pro choosing death. I am pro
sorry.
I am pro thinning of the numbers or thinning of
Got
the
it.
herd, certainly. But
I was just
you
making a
know,
joke, man.
no, God
Wow. I just witnessed a perfect 180, a turning of the tables.
I don't even. Wow, that was. He's
Wonderful.
been planning that and plotting that for like episodes.
We got Bobby Fischer over here planning his moves.
Totally.
That was great.
Sorry. Go ahead, man.
I don't even know where I was, man. Oh, Prince.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, not obviously at all, but I grew up in the 80s, or I was born in the 80s, and Prince was a fixture, but I don't even know why I was drawn to him. There's like, you know, very few musicians that I have
Sexually?
possibly. I don't know. I'm somewhere on the Kinsey scale, but I mean,
He appeals to both sides, it seems like.
yeah. That's
Prince
kind
is
of
fucking
his.
rad, man.
Yeah.
I've always loved Prince.
I think that's.
I'm
yeah,
a
I don't
fan.
have a.
I'm just a little. What's funny is that now that I realize that you're obsessed with falsetto, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, exactly. That might
Prince
be
is
where.
the king of falsetto in many
Yeah.
ways.
Oh man, I have a great Prince story, but I don't even know. Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna make it short. A friend of mine, only because we were talking about Vegas earlier before we were recording. Come to think of it, sorry. My friend Chris went randomly one time into the Hooters Hotel in Vegas because he'd never been in the Hooters Hotel, and he's like, "What the fuck is this about?" So we went in, and
Is everyone there a Hooters chick?
I don't know.
Oh,
I honestly don't know.
I thought you said you went in.
No, he did. My friend
Oh, I
Chris
thought you
did.
said we went in.
So he's standing playing slots or just hanging whatever, and he sees this guy walking fully decked out, dressed up like Prince, walking along the wall, and he goes and he kind of like looks left, looks right, and all of a sudden he sees him like open the wall. Essentially, the wall itself kind of opens as a door, and the guy and Prince goes in. Like, that was kind of weird. Okay. 5 minutes later, another person dressed like Prince walks by and kind of looks left, looks right, goes into the door.
Wow.
And he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Sees another person going as Prince, and Chris is like, "I have to." So Chris walks up. He opens the door and goes into the room, and there's like 20, 30 people all dressed up like Prince, standing around a table. Like just like a tiny little Prince convention. The room itself is not very big.
That's amazing.
But it was just this Prince. Everybody's decked out perfectly as Prince.
Wow.
And they all just are staring at Chris, and he's like, "Hi." And they're like, "What's up, man?" And he's like, I saw a bunch of Princes walking in here, so I had to come in." He's just talking to people asking. Anyway, that's my
Wow. That's
story.
no,
Isn't
but
that great?
imagine being like on mushrooms or something and walking into that room.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
They were all
exactly.
different incarnations of Prince, right?
Yeah,
It wasn't
exactly.
like-
yeah, it wasn't like the same exact incarnation,
Yeah.
incarnation of Prince. Yeah, it's a bummer. And I what he didn't leave a will. I think too. That's like the current news as it
Oh, really?
stands. I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't hear that.
Well, okay. I mean, I like his music, I will say. I think that which is an interesting fact, which just happened to be for every musician who dies, we kind of, exaggerate maybe some of their hits or whatever like that. We should celebrate their catalog a little bit more maybe than we should. This happened obviously with Michael Jackson and recently and Whitney Houston, although they're fantastic. I can't say
but
enough
I don't know
about
if
those two.
compare.
But I'm just saying, even
Nothing compares.
wow,
That's also good.
another one. I guess you really are.
Sinead
80s.
O'Connor?
Yeah, and that is a
That
Prince.
was also written by Prince.
Yeah,
Was that really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
ironically, Prince is like one of the first to use the "to" and the "you." It's like, you know what I mean?
Who in the you?
Like nothing compares to
Oh,
you.
yeah.
He would say, with
The number two and the letter.
and the letter "you."
Oh, as like a song title?
Yeah, but he was
Gotcha.
so against
I never read
like
things.
cell phones and technology in general. Like he didn't even have a phone.
He was
Oh, really?
Baptist, right? I think.
No,
He
it
was Jehovah's
yeah.
Witness, I think.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that everyone goes a little bit crazy with this. Supposedly, like for instance, he has a vault of maybe they say 2 million songs or 200,000 songs in his vault that haven't been released yet.
Mhm.
That but my
Oh,
point is
fucking
that
2
like
million.
there's no way that those songs are better than the ones that have been released.
No, of course
Otherwise,
not.
they
No.
have been released,
Right.
right? So
But, well, I mean, there is
probably
there might be a question of
might be a few in there that are decent.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it might be a question of the way that he crafts things. So
Right.
he would craft like albums rather than just songs, which is one thing I kind of one of the things that drew me, I think, to listening to like his albums.
Yeah,
is
the
that
concept.
they had like a theme to them. And
That's
they,
a good segue there towards albums versus singles in general. We've definitely made that switch, and I think me too. I appreciate listening to a full album.
Yeah.
The concept album is not completely gone with because you see Kanye's like Life of Pablo or something like that. But I mean, I still
Singles were gone. I mean, in the 60s though.
No.
Well, okay, you're right. Well, as far as like.
They had singles.
They had cassette singles.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I mean, sure. They had like, there were 45s, and then like the LPs started to become more and more popular.
Well, 45s were still always around for jukeboxes.
No, of course they were always around. But as far as like what became more popular, LPs became more popular.
Oh, yeah.
Literally in the 60s.
I think that was
And
part of the lengthening of albums, but I think also part of a cost effectiveness. Like I don't think the price difference between a 45 and an LP was that much.
They were substantial. I mean, I think an LP was $4 and a single was 99 cents.
Really?
Yeah. When it first, like, I literally just watched
Vinyl?
a documentary on Tower Records.
Gotcha.
Tower Records.
Yeah.
So they went through a lot of this.
Made by
kind of cool.
the guy from Bill
Yeah,
and
it was
Ted?
Colin Hanks. I think Colin Hanks.
Alex
did it.
Winter.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was Alex Winter, but no, Colin Hanks.
I
You're right.
believe
Yeah,
it was Colin Hanks who did
No,
it.
that's right.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. He
I could
came
be
on
wrong,
Corolla's
but-
podcast.
No, Alex Winter's doing something else.
Oh, okay. In any event, but singles were always around, sure. But then, of course, by the time like,
That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to break you, but
No, it's fine.
just the idea that like on iTunes, singles are still 99 cents. Like,
yeah, right.
But-
yeah, that is interesting.
But I guess on a 45, you got two
Wait a
songs
minute. I'm
out of
sorry.
it.
I
but-
could be wrong that it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't 99
Yeah, that
cents an
seems
LP.
like
That's
a lot
probably
when
pretty
you
high.
count inflation to the 50s.
I feel like it was like $3.99 though for an album, and it might have been maybe it wasn't 99 cents. Maybe it was like 30 cents or something. You know what? Actually, I feel like it was 29 cents. I think that might have been what it was.
Right on.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that does make a lot more
Pun
sense.
intended.
Yeah, but of course, yeah, it is good. No, but of course, that's what ended up killing the record stores in general was the fact that
Downloads.
Well, downloads, but coupled with the fact that there was no alternative. I mean, there was no when it comes to singles versus albums, right? When in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
if you liked one Britney Spears song or one fucking Backstreet Boys song, there was almost no way to get just that one song without
It all
buying the
went to
album.
just
And there was
CDs.
you had to spend fucking $18 on a CD just for that one
Were
song.
they really that expensive? I always thought they were.
Yeah.
For some reason, like $10 is what stuck out. Maybe that was just my
No,
threreshold
they are.
when I
That's
went
what
to
they
Walmart.
are now.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's what they are now. It was like 15 to 18
bucks. Yeah,
15 to
$15,
18
yeah.
bucks for like a
For sure.
new for
Like a CD.
a new CD.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And yeah, that was and then of course Napster came out. I was like, fuck this, man. That's where all the singles and so then that essentially is what killed them. But then iTunes came up with that concept of having you can buy just the one song you like. And that's why they've thrived. In any event, I don't know how we got there. I guess it was the album, right? We were talking about albums versus
singles.
Albums versus singles. Well, what do you prefer, Joey? Do you prefer albums or singles, or does it depend?
Well, ironically, when I am kind of just listening to music in my car, sometimes I'll just put on the shuffle and I'll listen to all my music, and those kind of listening to singles in a way. But when I'm at home, I will take the time sometimes to listen to an album if I'm in that kind of mood.
Do you have a process? Like, do you sit down with a particular pair of headphones in a particular mood and like really like or like speakers, whatever? I do.
That I could honestly, if I went like that, I just kind of have like my best pair of headphones hooked up with my best speakers hooked up at all times. I have it. You could have like I have a lot of headphones, and I'm a kind of a headphone nerd. You could have headphones for different genres of music, but I don't. I pretty much just have an amazing pair of headphones that Sennheiser HD 600s, no big deal. But
do you have different settings at least though? Why does that get a foghorn?
Just pimping names that we're not getting paid for.
Yeah, it's true. They should give me money for all the fucking business I've given them.
I thought you didn't like Sennheiser.
I like some of their things.
Gotcha.
It depends.
Mine's there.
280s that are on my head right now.
Yeah.
They're just uncomfortable. They're gonna. That's all. Okay, so these headphones, for instance, are great. The ones that are on my head right now, the Sennheiser HD 280s, are great for classical music. They have great treble and top end. They're very airy. But I prefer.
They're not great on voice.
They're not great for other stuff, like really anything else, honestly, for listening to. The stuff I like has a lot of bass, a lot of heavy guitars. I love guitars. The stuff I like, and we can just get into this actually, because I'm kind of curious to like what our tastes are. My big taste is blues. I've always loved blues.
Yeah, man.
We got a Chicago guy right here too, which is great. But
But he
honest-
knows nothing about blues, unfortunately.
yeah, unfortunately. But I feel like there must have been some osmosis there that seeped into.
Did I tell you I saw BB
Blues
King
Brothers
in the
at
last,
most.
like,
Really?
yeah, like in
He's
the,
still alive?
no, I mean like right before he died.
Oh.
He went to his grave. He saw him.
It was it was BB King and Peter Frampton.
That's
it's like
interesting.
2 years ago. It was a cool little matchup. Like Peter Frampton played first, then BB King played. It was rad.
So those are the three influences of mine, are really the three kings of blues, what they always say, which is B.B. King, Freddie King, and Albert King. Everyone forgets those last two, but they're pretty important.
No relation?
No relation. So Albert King is probably what they call the godfather for Stevie
They
Ray
were
Vaughan.
like the Jackson 5.
If you listen to no, completely unrelated, completely different, and three different kind of styles of blues guitar.
Gotcha.
And that was kind of the influence of really all rock and roll. People forget that. All the rock gods from the 60s, Clapton, Hendrix, were all kind of taking lessons from these guys. Clapton was obsessed with Freddie King. Stevie Ray Vaughan was obsessed with Albert King. Hendrix really was obsessed with BB, but kind of all of them.
I mean,
too.
even go back to Elvis, man.
And you can talk about, there's others too. Lightnin' Hopkins was a big one too, of course, and Elvis, of course. But I'm talking about all these kind of original blues guys that I loved growing up. And these are the guys that I would kind of obsess over. I would listen to their music over and over again and try to mimic exactly the way they played guitar and try to do it myself. Because I was like, I want to be that guy. So I have to find how they are doing this magical thing with their hands.
What's your guitar of choice?
I'll tell you, Fender Stratocaster.
Okay.
It's that simple. I think it's the most versatile of all guitars. I think it's fantastic for playing my style of music, which is blues and rock. And I like the way it sits in my hand.
So you're a Clapton guy.
I love Clapton. A lot of people are kind of divided on him, which is interesting. I feel like
That's weird. Why?
I think it's because he's lasted so long that people learn to hate him, which is kind of an interesting theory of mine. I think a lot of these guys, like if Hendrix lasted this long, people would probably have some haters too. I just think.
I don't think anyone survives in our current world.
Yeah, I think Clapton.
That's true. There's like people who troll everybody.
Yeah.
Like even the Rolling Stones had such a shitty period, although they've brought it back and they have fans, serious. Clapton has fans, but I'm just saying he's got tons of people who are like they can't stand his music right now. That's maybe a hipster mentality, but
maybe it might have been like the 90s when he did his like unplugged stuff.
That was when his comeback was, I think. But then
it was his comeback, but that's kind of, and now everyone's
now
like,
he's released like 4 or 5 albums since then that are kind of like meh.
Oh, he's still releasing albums.
Yeah, I actually
in fact, he
didn't realize
just
that.
released one maybe a month or two ago.
Did he really?
Gotcha.
Yep.
Is it any good?
Haven't listened to it.
Okay.
He's still good. He's just kind of lame, honestly. He's become just kind of an old white guy blues, which is kind of the pitfall I get into is I don't want to be just that white guy playing a blues guitar with a Fender Stratocaster, which is like every fucking kid who picks up a guitar. So you don't want to turn into one of those cliches, and definitely you don't want to turn into one of those guys that feels like you're stealing culture. That's always been an issue with me, just being a white guy playing blues.
Sure.
So we can talk about that. How do you guys feel any way about that? I mean, about like, I don't know, white guys playing the blues, for instance, or maybe a white person rapping, I guess is not really.
I mean,
if
it's like any art, man. If you got it in your heart, you got it in your heart. It's nothing that necessary. Like it's a question of the experience. Now, sure, there could be an element of the Black experience that you might not be able to connect with as well when it comes to hip hop or blues, for that matter. But I mean, we talk about Eminem. It's not, Eminem was a fucking amazing rapper, dude. Or is, literally, you know what I mean? And his music.
I agree, yeah.
His music was what was it? I think it was like Larry Wilmore's show. Someone was just like, fucking, Eminem's like, forget the fact that I'm white, man. I'm poor. I understand this world. I understand this culture. And he owned who he was.
It was impressive,
trying to pretend.
I
think. I think like trying to pretend that you're something that you're not is when it just means it's bad art in general. You know what I mean? And it's not like fucking Vanilla Ice, like Ice Ice Baby,
right?
Isn't terrible, but like the rest of his shit.
I think
was
the word,
whatever.
or I would go with here is just honesty. I think that if you make it with honesty, the viewers or the listeners can tell. Eminem kind of just spoke kind of what he wanted to say, just whatever shit he was going through with his wife.
Although it is so wild that like the first real great rapper to come out of Detroit is white.
Really?
Pretty much, man. He was the first.
He's not the first, is he?
He kind of was the first rapper to like really fucking make it big out of Detroit.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. I can't think anybody before him.
You're looking at
I
the
mean,
wrong guy.
we're talking like, you know,
Your rap knowledge might be better than mine. So,
Mid-90s.
I mean, yeah, we'd have to get someone else on to talk. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
I'm right.
There's no one in Public Enemy who's from Detroit or
No,
anything like that?
they're all New York.
Yeah, you're on the
Huh.
East
Yeah.
Coast. Okay.
Yeah. And Public Enemy was like 80s anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, Detroit rap didn't. I mean, there was plenty of Detroit hip hop on the scene. You know what I mean? Just nobody made it as big as Eminem. That, like in the national spotlight. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, sure, New York was first, obviously,
But that also
and then,
might be Detroit.
Then L.A.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I was just going to maybe pull up a theory for why Detroit. I think Detroit's Motown. I think that it was dominated by soul and funk and rhythm and blues.
Well, yeah, but all that was defunct by
Well,
by
I
the
think-
fucking 70s, really.
No, it lasted through the
Kinda, it
80s.
was
Through
like
the 80s. Even the
Motown?
90s. Yeah, because even Boyz II Men was Motown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were out of
That's
it was out
Motown
of
Philly's
LA
back
though.
again.
Yeah, Motown Philly's back again. I mean, sure, but I'm not suggesting Motown Records
No,
wasn't
I'm just
gone, but
presenting
I
a
just mean
theory why there
sure.
might that maybe that instead of the musicians turn to rap, they would turn to rhythm and blues. They would turn to soul. They would turn to funk instead of.
But
maybe
they weren't
that's-
out of Detroit though.
Motown. Yeah, they were.
No, I'm saying like
What?
The rest of the artists who were in
Well,
Detroit
yeah, but
weren't
they're
like
in- No, a lot of them were from there, and that they,
originally,
well,
but
they're
by that's
but
what I
they're
mean.
influence. I'm just saying they're okay. Maybe not. I'm just.
I guess
I'm just throwing shit against the wall,
Yeah.
dude.
It's not an unfair question, but I don't know if. I guess that's what I'm saying. It's not a question of like there weren't a lot of hip hop artists because there were a ton of hip hop artists in Detroit
Okay, to make it
throughout
big.
the 80s and 90s. You know, basically we're talking a 6-year stretch, right? I mean, Public Enemy was
I
what,
think
like
the Fat
87,
Boys were
88?
Detroit.
Yeah, 90, yeah, or 89,
Fat
90.
Boys. Who are the Fat Boys?
Fat Boys? They were like 3 fat
Boys?
rappers. Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, here this
Early 80s.
This still
they were
goes to my
like-
point
yeah,
because
yeah.
we haven't heard of them. So.
Right
Well,
but like
we're
Public,
three white boys, so.
right? Like Public Enemy, and I think Nas was like a little bit. Nas was like after.
Nas was like 94, 95.
Yeah, 92 I think was Illmatic.
I don't
and then
think
the
it
stuff
was.
that
I think
makes
it was
your car go
94.
faster?
Illmatic.
Yeah, I think it was 94. I'll do some fact
Yeah, look it up.
checking.
Anyway, we had East Coast rap, and then we had God damn, I keep wanting to stay straight out of Compton like a fucking asshole. NWA. That was 90. That was 89, 90, 91.
Illmatic's 94.
Oh, nice. So in any event, my point is in that stretch, and then Eminem, what, it came out in 97, I think, was his first album, Slim Shady LP.
That seems late.
No, that seems about right. Let's check that one.
I feel like it was 97.
like the Slim Shady, not that one.
The
It
Slim
was-
Shady LP was his first, big one.
All right.
So I guess that's my point. In that stretch of time, there wasn't much, but there were plenty of Detroit hip hop artists, but nobody actually made
This
it
is
big.
all
Eminem
kind
was the
of
first one.
I don't know. It's just all moot. Like, why are we even talking about this? I mean, yeah, you're
Because
right.
it's ironic that
it's
we're talking about
interesting.
the black experience, right? And it's funny that like the biggest rapper to come out of Detroit was
I
white.
get it, but it's
kinda
just
funny.
one city. There's tons of other cities with
I
black
understand.
populations.
It was just
It's a
noteworthy.
throwaway
I know.
thing.
I know.
It was a throwaway thing.
I
that
know.
turned into
That's
this
my
thing.
point. It's interesting. It's noteworthy, but let's move on.
Yeah, no,
That's
for
all.
sure. I'm more than
Okay.
happy to.
All right.
Well, I guess one thing I wanted to get at is that this idea of owning a culture. First off, I mean, just from
Yeah, there you
my conspiracy bent, I think that the whole construct of race is something that is forced upon us to just to kind of be able to keep political control. I think that's something that is very much a distraction from what the real problem is, which is poverty, essentially. So yes, I think that it doesn't really matter, and to me it seems that it's a shared culture, especially when you talk about rap and things like that. That is something that is just so commonplace that like you can't say that rap isn't part of white kids' culture because that's what they grow up with. Like that has become a part of popular culture, so therefore it becomes part of their culture, and there's no reason that they should not be able to partake in that. To me that goes for any cultural crossbreeding. I just kind of think that is the sort of foundation of America and what we should be encouraging. We are a melting pot, not a stew.
What's the difference between a melting pot and a stew?
A stew, everything is still chunks, clumps. A melting pot, everything is broken down and melted together into a
So
homogeneous thing.
multiculturalism
Okay.
is the stew.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why we're going to go off with a tangent. We may as well. I feel like a melting pot is oh god damn it. I want to say disrespectful, but it's not. It's not giving due credit to anybody who has a specific point of view. It's not a melting pot. I mean, if you give, oh, god damn it, my head is not with me right now. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
the idea that everybody is completely equal is insensitive, I think, to some people who have particular experiences across the board.
right. And well, I'm not saying that as a white rapper, you can now start throwing around the N-word and start, pretending to be something that you're not. I'm just saying that there's no reason that you should be barred from that entire genre.
Well, right, yeah. I don't think anybody's suggesting that you can't be a white rapper. I think
many people suggest that. But I mean you can't be a black country singer. You can't be there's a lot of, you can't be an Indian.
I don't
anything.
think but that's what I mean. I don't think anybody of note or whose opinion ought to be amplified, I guess, in that sense, would go so far as to say you can't. I mean, it goes back to what we were saying before, right? Like if it's in your heart, whatever. Like if you get the blues in your heart, you can play the blues. It doesn't matter what skin color you have. Same thing with rap, I think. And like what Joey said, it goes back to honesty. I mean, if you're playing any song with a degree of honesty, and that's the genre that you're at, then everybody will recognize that and relate to it. So it's not that you can't be a white rapper. It's that it's just not good, and good in like the good art sense that we're talking about, right? The good tra sense of being to try and pretend like you're something that you're not. I guess that's the difference. So it's not that white kids in the suburbs can't listen to rap. It's that white kids in the suburbs trying to make gangster rap music or anything that kind of relates to literally a culture that they don't understand is disrespecting those that recognize it in any capacity, no matter what your skin color is.
I guess I don't listen to enough rap to understand the intricacies of the genre.
Well,
but I mean, yes, I guess a lot of it does pertain to a certain amount of activities and violence that is not akin to the lifestyle.
Sure. Well, and that's the same thing with country music, though, too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if you've never lived on a farm, then why the fuck you singing about a farm?
Yeah, but don't you think that since rap music has come out, the average white person from the suburbs of the country knows more about what goes on in the cities and black communities?
Totally. That's
a nice positive. Whether or not they appreciate.
You just can't write that song first person.
Okay, I understand.
It's just I wouldn't say you can't. I would say it won't be very good.
Yeah, well,
or at the very least, it likely won't be good.
Yeah.
And it's disrespecting anybody who has that. Who actually has that there. You know what I mean?
That was all connoted, and I can't.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Can't's a big word, man. Can't's a big fucking word.
No,
you know me. I'm specific.
Well, what's interesting to you guys... do you have a point, Sean?
No, it was the same thing we were talking about.
Well, I guess what's interesting to me when I say about blues and theoretically rap or hip hop, if you will, they're kind of songs of not necessarily sadness or despair, but like kind of like how to deal with sadness or despair. It's kind of how to deal with your blues, how to deal with your depression, how to deal with shitty situations. And with blues, I always kind of liked it because they always had this like ironic, humorous take on it. Like you'll see B.B. King try to make like a cute little turn of phrase in the middle of his song and try to make everyone laugh. I like that aspect of it. I like the whole, if you got to laugh at some of your problems. And I think I identified with that as well, being just, like a dorky little Jewish kid and from Philadelphia. So whatever. And I like the idea of like, whatever blues you have, everyone's got sadness of some kind. So whatever Eminem, shit he was going through, it's, it's definitely honest, and it comes maybe across as culturally insensitive because it's the same art form, but it's definitely coming from a similar place of sadness and despair.
What comes across as culturally insensitive?
Well, to some people, I would say, no, not to
Eminem?
me. No, I would say just in general, white people rapping, I would say.
I feel like when he first came out, that was definitely a
I don't think
thing.
No, I think just on its surface.
It was a thing without
knowing,
white.
Without knowing, like Vanilla Ice, for instance. I'm just saying
that's a slightly different
superficial
story,
of. Okay, so just taking Eminem on his surface, you would believe that. But I think my point is that his universal, suffering is just kind of manufactured this place because that's what he listened to.
I don't know if I'd go as far as the suffering. It's just the fact that he was fucking good at it, man. You don't have to suffer to be. I mean, if that's an element of
you
hip-hop,
have to be
sure,
good at
maybe,
it,
but-
obviously, to be good at a specific art form.
Right.
But the way that what separates you from the pack is
I think what you're talking about is the blues. Like if you're not sad, it's hard to sing about the blues.
But also, I would say hip hop and rap too. Sometimes, if you're not angry or pissed off, sometimes
well, right, exactly.
he can't be rapping angry or pissed off. It comes across as fake.
Exactly.
I think that's the honesty issue. I was kind of
for sure. No, I completely agreed. You just blended the two when you were ranting about them. That's all.
I'm trying to make connections there.
No, it was fine. It was just I think it got confusing. That's all.
I just remembered I did listen to one rapper.
And who?
DMX.
You listen to DMX?
Party up.
Yep. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind.
Yep.
I actually love DMX too. And to be honest, you probably thought of that because I said angry or pissed off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, he's like got the best voice for being angry or pissed off. And there's not really any way to kind of substitute that.
Yeah.
There's not many people who. I mean, I guess Ja Rule was probably his successor.
Well, I mean the
But all he could do was just scream really loud.
I don't even know.
Well, genre swapping. I mean, that's like
I don't-
Slipknot to me. It's just kind of like that same.
Expressing anger as loud as you
Are you
can.
a metal guy too?
I mean, as much as I am anything. Like, I mean, if
okay.
my true genre.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is your most
novelty?
What? Like spoken word?
Yeah,
or
well,
just like
Weird Al,
cats singing Christmas tunes.
Well,
the
yeah,
Chipmunks.
My favorite food is water.
Novelty. Like Weird Al. Okay, I got it.
Weird Al, They Might Be Giants.
Anything in the various sections.
Yeah, Tenacious D.
Green Jelly.
Yeah.
You remember Green
Dr.
Jelly?
Demento?
Ween.
Oh yeah,
Dr.
fucking
Demento.
Ween.
Yeah.
But you do like Tool. You're
yeah.
a big Tool
Tool's right.
fan.
I'm also a I realized recently that the novelty is actually the subgenre of my favoriteest genre, which is the story song. That's what
cool.
encompasses most of
Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Exactly. A little bit of Meatloaf, a little rock opera in there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Stairway to Heaven? Is that story enough, or is
not
that still
enough.
too poetic? Okay.
Edmund Fitzgerald.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah,
I think of their story songs.
Story songs?
American Pie.
There you go. Nice.
That's a little want to kill myself-y, but
How about Alice's Restaurant? That's like 20 minutes long.
Alice's Restaurant.
You
You can
Arlo
get
Guthrie.
anything you want.
It's like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's why
No, I
it's
dig
kind of
that.
famous.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, anything like Harry Chapin or
It's so interesting.
No,
That's cool, man. That's interesting.
I can see Wheeler just shaking his head right now.
What do you have a favorite song?
I think that's why I like Prince.
Because Wheeler hates Prince?
No, the story aspect.
Oh, right. The whole concept.
Oh yeah,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
Like Darling Nikki and Purple Rain and all that stuff. Yeah.
Doves Cry and
Yeah.
There's like an actual plot line.
So
to his
give me
songs.
your top 5 favorite concept albums first, and then give me your top 5 favorite story songs.
Oh, I couldn't even do that. I guess
what's the most recent one? Okay,
yeah, no, I mean the best list I can give you would be as far as like story songs. I mean Harry Chapin's Taxi is really well crafted and like I'm not a crier, but it does make me well up a little bit.
Have you ever cried listening to a song?
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
Wait, what song?
Probably like most of Harry Chapin's albums. Like,
So Taxi, obviously.
yeah, Taxi.
Harry Chapin makes you cry.
I mean,
This is my new favorite thing.
no,
I'm gonna walk around with Harry Chapin playing from my life to see if I can get you to cry.
No, I mean that's like I can't cry at reality, but I can cry at stories. So
Sure,
I can,
I'm with you there.
like
Oh wait, no,
like every Pixar movie I've teared up at.
Okay.
I don't know when it's on a screen or when it's like imaginary. For some reason, it's more real than reality. Like
I only
reality
ever
just makes
cried
me
with
shut
music.
off. Yeah.
With music, like I never
yeah.
cried. I never cried
You know,
watching movies.
That's a good point, though. It's probably not even the movie that makes me cry.
Yeah, it's
like
the music.
Yeah.
That's
The
what it is for
musical
me too.
cues. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's the
Exactly.
musical cues in movies that have made me cry.
Totally.
And I didn't cry in any movie until I was fucking. I don't even remember how old I was. But within the last like 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm 33. I was like that I'd never cried at a movie, and it always kind of bummed
Really?
me out that I had
Weird.
never cried in any movie ever.
Mm.
But it was music. Really, music is the one that music always made me cry. Just recent. So, go ahead, continue. We'll go to the.
My
you were telling us
list.
about the story songs.
And
albums. What about albums, though?
Albums. Let's see. What can I listen to?
Hold on. I want to play a game.
Yeah.
I want to play a game. Does Sean Fall like it?
Right.
I'm gonna throw out a band, and we're gonna see if you know them or like them.
I want to guess first.
Well, of course. That's what I'm doing. It's me and you are gonna guess.
Game.
Oh no, what I mean is that you're gonna say
I'm gonna say the band.
I'm gonna guess whether he likes it or not.
And me and you are gonna guess.
You're both gonna guess.
Yeah, we're gonna guess. We're gonna play a game. Okay. Rush. I'm gonna say Rush. I'm gonna. Damn it! Don't say anything, Sean. God.
Oh no, I'm just processing.
I know I can't look at him.
Part of the question was whether I knew it.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so
I'll be able to read him.
All right, I'm gonna say.
I'm going to the Stoic.
I'll still read you, man.
Okay, I'm gonna say he does know them, does not like them.
He knows them. He doesn't not like them. They're fine.
Okay, let's hear it, Sean.
Yeah, O'Brien read my body posture there.
Damn it!
I didn't even look at you.
Oh, really?
I swear to God, I didn't look at you. I had my hand up the whole time.
Okay,
so I got it right.
Yeah, no,
Nailed it.
Yeah, I like them, or I know them. I'm, not opposed to them.
Okay, I'm gonna throw up another prog rock band.
Right on.
Yes, I'm gonna say knows them, doesn't like them.
I'm gonna say doesn't really know them.
Yeah, O'Brien again.
Doesn't know.
Like, I'm aware of the name, and I would probably recognize a song if you told me, but I couldn't name a song.
Okay. Black Sabbath.
Go ahead.
I say knows them and kind of likes them.
Knows them, likes them, except okay, he likes Crazy Train until it gets stupid. So like the opening of Crazy Train is rad, and it gets da-da-da-da-da-da. That part, he hates that part.
Okay.
That's my guess.
So you just like the opening lick of Crazy Train.
Huh. I never really thought about it, but O'Brien might be right.
God damn
it. Before he gave that description, I probably would have said knows them but doesn't really like them.
100% right. God
I've
damn
never
it.
listened to them. I've never put a Black Sabbath album on, but yeah.
All right.
It's so weird how well I know you, and we've the amount of I don't even know if our listeners really know this.
Oh yeah.
The amount of conversations that we've had in general, the three of Joey, you and I don't think have ever had a conversation that wasn't recorded. Period.
Well, before and after our podcast,
right.
yeah.
Sure, but before we started recording, it's the first time we ever actually talked.
Fair enough.
At all. And Sean and I, whenever we worked together, I would be the one fucking yapping, and Sean would just laugh and nod and just listen, and it was fine. But I would be the one rambling about whatever the fuck I was rambling about.
No way.
I
don't believe
Imagine if you will.
Dig if you will a picture.
And the very first time we did you asked me to do the podcast, and it was the very first time you started speaking was the very first time I was like, well, hold the fuck. I've never.
Yeah. The listeners have been pretty much present for our entire triangular relationship.
Yeah. So as we get to know each other, you guys are a party to this. In any event, I don't know, but I'm now actually kind of blown away. I know, Sean. Do you have any more?
Oh yeah, I could throw out tons more. I'm going to throw out a big one. Michael Jackson. I'm going to say knows and kind of likes the Thriller album, but that's it.
He knows him and he likes him.
Yeah, he likes him.
Yeah.
Know him.
I think I'm just.
Yeah, I guess I would say like some. More tangentially though, through. Anyone? Weird Al? No. Okay.
Fat.
Yeah.
Fat.
Or Eat It.
And
Yeah,
Eat It.
exactly.
Is there another Weird Al Michael Jackson
No, those are the only
song?
two.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He never did.
He did some sound-alikes, but he'll do music that's in a genre that's not a
I
direct
know.
parody.
No, I know.
But
The Night Santa Went Crazy was probably my favorite of those.
that's a great one.
That's a great
That is a good one.
Yeah, Trigger Happy is one of my favorites.
Yep.
Yeah.
I fucking love Weird Al. I love Weird Al so much.
That would probably be my top 5 albums. Would just be all Weird Al albums.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
That's amazing.
Well, I mean, that's the music that I can listen to probably the most consistently, and it's it's always changing. So it's every genre you could want is pretty much
it does keep you abreast of the times.
Exactly.
You do know what the hell's going on if you're listening to Weird Al.
It is as much culture as I can handle.
Yeah. Okay, Sean O'Brien, your top 5 albums, please.
I've been asked this question so many times, it's really hard for me. I don't know. So the very first album I ever bought was Nevermind. So growing up, I was a Nirvana guy. I always loved Weird Al. As well. But I mean, as far, and then, so musically it was tough. I mean, when I was growing up, I loved, I liked fucking Springsteen. I liked a lot of pop in general.
Okay, let me just
90s,
stop.
80s.
Can I stop you quickly?
Sure.
I'm interested in the fact you said growing up. Do you
Sure.
think there's something about that like we get
100%.
attached to the music that
Of
we just grow
course.
up with?
Absolutely.
And it's set in stone?
No question.
But when is that set in stone?
When around
When you
like
gotta get a
17.
job.
When you're like,
Isn't that no, I actually agree.
It's high school.
It's
It's about
like
17.
17, 18, 19. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like freshman year of college for
for
a lot
sure.
of people.
Which sucks for me because 17, freshman in college.
well, I would say for me it was 18, 19. But okay.
Usually it's 16. To be honest with you, it's
Well,
like
it's probably I don't know, for me it's a long.
it kind of
period.
vaguely depends. I would say for most people, it's between obviously 16 to 19. Let's
Yeah, I
just
think
we
that's
just go with
fair.
that.
freshman.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was a 17-year-old freshman.
You were a 17-year-old freshman in college. Cool, smart.
But
kid.
why does it not?
No, just
Why does it
weird
not
birthday.
change?
I think why does it change?
Why does it not change? Why is that set in stone there?
It's
17?
a question of so. I mean, there's more of a biological and psychological thing that is attached to it. There are literally studies on this.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there's studies on this that explain why you think that your music is so much better when you were younger. Well, in fact, of course, it isn't. It's there's no
It's
difference.
just when you have the most
Yeah,
time
it's-
to devote to listening.
Well, no, it's part of it there, but also your hormones are fucking rocking,
yeah,
and
totally.
on the memories that you're having at
That's
that time.
the formation of
yeah,
the brain.
it's literally the music is the soundtrack of your life.
God
And so-
damn it.
So right then and there, when all
Yeah.
that shit's happening, the
I
music that
always-
you're listening to is tied to
I
it.
always find that so interesting that we always remember exactly where we were when we heard the song for the first time or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
or like an important
or whatever
thing
moment.
tied. Yeah, a moment tied to a particular song.
But it's like our memories are like certain, like a Rolodex that's like kind of divided by our audio, our musical memory somehow.
Huh.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
it's
really
all-
have that. I do have that with podcasts, though, weirdly. Which
Well,
That
that's
is
your
weird.
replacement.
I guess, yeah,
It's
maybe.
hitting that same part of your brain, probably.
Yeah, I guess so. Like if I listen to a podcast in a grocery store and then like re-listen to that podcast, like I'll remember like what
Oh, sure,
aisle
that
I was
happens.
in when
Yeah,
that person
that's-
was.
I think that's the same muscle memory theoretically.
Right on.
Yeah.
It's just a question of the way your memories are formed have to do specifically with that. I mean, all of your senses when they're
Right.
working more and they're combined and there's something
the more
emotional that's
senses
happening to
going
you.
on, totally.
That's when you're going to remember
Inside
them all
Out
better.
did a great visualization of this.
Exactly right.
Seriously, really did.
Pixar literally was just
God damn, they really
what
killed
if
that.
feelings had feelings?
Yeah,
they
exactly.
really did.
The thing that pissed, just to take a side
Yeah,
jab,
go
ahead.
the thing that pissed me off about Inside Out, though, was it Inside Out or Inside Out, was that the characters for the people in the Herman's head of the main characters were all like different characters, whereas when they went into like at the end they went into the heads of all the other people and all 5 of them were like exact representations of that person. So like they it seems like they just didn't spend the time to develop for each.
I don't remember.
Oh,
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like
the
were-
dad were all the different feelings in the dad were all
yeah,
just
it was like
versions of
5
the
different
dad.
dads, just different colors. Whereas
Yeah,
like
you're right.
with the little
they
girl,
didn't
they
take
were
the
all
time
like
to make unique characters.
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
I mean, they were
Okay.
kind of unique, but they weren't as unique as they did for the main character.
yeah, the main character was like vastly
It was one
different people
scene.
for
Yeah.
I know, but still,
They
it's
didn't wanna-
Pixar.
No,
You
I-
don't
I-
have
no, I
our
had
standards.
totally
They didn't want to.
understand.
That's like background voice actors versus big name voice actors. They didn't want to pay for Amy Poehler times whatever.
I
Right.
suppose. I guess I just read a lot into it. It just had a weird connotation to me. But
The
Oh, like everyone is more monolithic than that girl.
exactly,
Like that
yeah.
girl thinks more and more deeper.
Yeah.
Whatever. Interesting. Okay.
anyway. Okay, fair enough. Wait,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What was your question?
I was actually going to probe you more about your specific taste in.
I'll go off in general, man. Music is probably my favorite thing.
Okay.
To be honest with you, like
So wait,
when you really break it down.
Let me ask you this: so you're a writer, pretty much, right? I mean, at least
Sure.
that's how I kind of
it's
view
true.
you.
It's true.
No, you don't- you can-
I reject the term, but it's true. It's
Well,
fucking.
my question is more about your process. Do you listen
Sure.
to music when you write? I guess.
Oh, well, sure. Well, music. I mean, okay, so
And does one help the
yeah,
other?
I guess I'll tighten it down. I'll. Because
Is there a genre-
I
is
could go
there-
on forever.
Is there
as
a
far as my
genre
life.
that's better for writing?
Can you
No,
listen
so
to
it's-
lyrics when you write?
Sure. Well, so not really. So okay, how do I explain this? As far as the process of writing, if you want to hear the writing thing, it really depends on many different things. The one through line I have for a lot of the different scripts I've written are I'll have essentially a playlist that go with the movie itself, because I never look at a movie that I'm writing it. I look at it as I'm directing it. I just happen to be writing it down in words first.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of doing that visually, and I know what's going on with that. So the music isn't necessarily what's going to be playing, but it does have kind of a tone or a style or an emotional through line that represents this scene, which, to be honest with you, is just so I remember, and I am able to kind of condense the entire script that I don't have to read into, an hour and a half. But it's just represented musically. I don't really use that when I write it.
Wow.
I'll have that before I've written it. So I'll see the whole movie in my head, and then I'll just represent that musically with songs, and then I can just do that. And sometimes it goes hand in hand. But
Wow.
Long story short, as far as like my process of writing, I already have it all written in my head before I write it. That's just the way I work.
Yeah.
Synesthesia?
I think you asked that before. I don't.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's like a small degree of it, but not really. No,
Right
it's
on.
just it's.
But yeah, that
not
would
really.
be I see where you're going with that, because that's kind of my question too. It's interesting.
No,
that
it's
you,
just a question
that you
of-
work by tone. I like.
Well, it's not
that.
just tone; it's emotion. It's just,
Oh,
it's exactly. That's kind of So they're synonymous in a way to me, of course. But anyway, as far as the writing element of it, that's what it is. But I
Yes.
love.
It's like picking the palette for a painting. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
precisely.
I think so,
Yeah,
too,
it's just an easy way to be like, okay, that's what it is, and that hasn't been for everything I've ever written, but I pretty much always have a song more or less in mind across the board.
I think that's what
Okay.
freaked me out about music so much, is that just trying to create music.
Mhm.
Not something I ever really delved into too much, but like the idea of just not even understanding the palette to choose from, not even understanding like the basis of like where to even begin with those things. Like, at least in painting, I have these
know
three
what?
different colors and I can mix them together and make
I
what
blame
I want.
that
but
on education. I gotta
Yeah.
say, and I'm going to go back
It's
to
true.
kind of my point here.
Is that just my own
Yeah, no, not your fault.
or naivete?
Yeah, no, I
or-
think so. I
Perhaps.
think I could
Okay.
show you a
world.
range of chords and a range of
Shining,
Yeah,
notes.
you'll know
shimmering
exactly
wonder.
And
what
you'd
it
be like,
feels like.
oh, okay, that's that. That's a minor chord. That's a seventh chord. That's a 13th.
Splendor.
That's a major. You'd be like, oh, all these notes. There's the exact notes of the scale. Do, re, mi. You sing that stupid song from Sound of Music. That's pretty much half of music right there.
Don't accuse me of that.
Sorry. I'm assuming you
There's
sing
no
that well.
falsetto in that.
Yeah, oh,
but
shit.
yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, there is. That
Is
will
there?
bring us back to do. Oh, it's not
Yeah,
falsetto.
it's just a higher pitch.
Just a scale.
If you're singing it, maybe you got to go.
I can make it falsetto.
What was I going to say?
If Prince
Oh,
was
you know
singing.
what? So hang on. Let me go back to the other thing.
Oh,
My favorite albums. Fucking the worst part about my solidifying music. I loved music growing up forever. I always loved music and movies, kind of back and forth. And when I was in high school, though, I went to school, from about 97 to 2001. That stretch of time, for some reason, was in pop, at least, was so fucking frustrating. And there was no, to me at least, there was no really good music, and it was
Mhm.
driving me insane. So I would still listen to all the shit that I listened to, Rage Against the Machine, Nirvana, Tool. What else? I'm trying to think. Oh, I never got into Radiohead, which was such a bummer. I didn't get into Radiohead until
Interesting.
recently, and I've listened. So I went through like a whole. Even Weezer, actually, I didn't listen, but even they were kind of gone.
Weezer, I don't think I would like unless I had the
Yeah, you would.
connotation.
Yeah, you would,
Really?
man. So that was the same thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, for Radiohead, I do this weird thing where like I'll just lock into an album or whatever, and then I'll just listen to that on repeat for like a year and a half. So I did that with Radiohead, but I did it in order. So I did first the Bends, and then I think I skipped what was it, Pablo Honey?
Yeah.
Then I did the Bends, and then OK Computer. I sat on that for like 2 years, literally just listened to it nonstop. And then I did Kid A, and I kind of the rest of them are all sort of I blended them. But the next big obsession I had, which only just recently sort of ended and lasted for the last like year and a half, was fucking Weezer, man.
Weird.
And it was because that's what you honestly would think. It's like usually when I say to people, Weezer, most people
Album.
are like, oh, the Buddy Holly, the Buddy Holly guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or sure, the Blue Album.
That's Buddy Holly.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but I mean, most people
Those are the
will
references.
recognize the Blue Album, but won't know how many hits are on the Blue
Oh,
Album,
yeah,
or be
yeah.
like, oh, I guess
Yeah.
it was big, it was fine, and they'll know all the hits.
Gotcha.
But have you heard Pinkerton?
Yes,
That's a concept album.
that is a great album.
There you go. So you're
Yeah.
fine with Weezer then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
but like I said, I assume that is part of the time and place. Like that was a musical specific time in my life.
Yeah, I guess that's
I don't
true.
know that if I was never to hear of them and go back to them at this point, that I would give a shit.
It did, man. So I literally, I heard Pinkerton kind of like, I let it wash over me in the car at some point. We were driving from the Sierra Nevadas. A friend of mine just put it on, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? He's like, it's Weezer, man. I'm like, oh, all right. And I let it wash over, but it was intense. And then I realized I had it on my phone, and I was cleaning my apartment one day, and I was like, I feel like doing Weezer. I feel like listening to this. I want to hear it again. So I put it on, and the first song, I'm tired of seconds, like fucking just that rockin', just that just hard, firm beat that just keeps hitting. And I'm sitting there washing dishes and just started fucking literally headbanging. And I felt like it was in 96, man. I was like, fuck yes. Like all that music that I've missed out on for years suddenly came swelling into my soul as I'm cleaning. And I literally just had that song on repeat for a fucking year. And it only just ended. Oh, and their new album's actually pretty good. Or the one the one that came out in 2014 was good. That was a lot like that was like the Blue Album and Pinkerton, and then the one that just came out is a lot like the Green Album, which is their White Album.
I think their White Album, really?
The White Album, yeah, just came out.
Oh,
last month, I think.
Gotcha. I thought you were saying that the Green Album was like their Beatles White Album. Which
no.
I was gonna say, yeah, I didn't like the Green Album.
No, the Green Album was okay.
Oh, that was with Hash Pipe.
Yeah, no, you're thinking of Maladroit.
Yeah. Welcome to the Weezer podcast.
Sorry.
Exactly.
You know what I'm listening to right now, though?
It's one of the 5 bands I know, man.
Okay, good.
You know what I've been listening to now, since we're on music, and I've been fucking obsessed with it, is Hamilton.
Oh yeah, we know about this. Yeah.
Did I tell you about this?
Oh, I love the fact that you love the soundtrack of it, but you've never seen the play.
I've seen it now in my head, man.
In your head. Okay.
It's like when I read Shakespeare, like I don't need to see the fucking play to know what's going on with it. Hamilton is fucking amazing. And it's so good. It's so good.
I really know nothing about it other than what you said, and that's pretty much to spin that. It's amazing.
Do you like hip hop at all? Like, do you like rap?
Not especially, no.
Okay. It'd be tough.
It's rap? Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm way less inclined
it's
to watch it
basically
now.
It's the story of Alexander Hamilton told through I'll put it this way, like Hamilton's life is like the most gangster thing you can imagine. That was sort of what Lin-Manuel Miranda kind of like said when he read the book. He was reading this Ron Chernow's book, and he's like, God damn, man, Hamilton's fucking gangster, dude. And just, and all the characters, so Washington, Burr, everybody in his head was just were these, hip hop characters, and he basically cast them as hip hop, so like,
I now
whatever.
understand why it's culturally
but do they
relevant.
have
Right.
like specific rappers as specific historical
there's
figures?
styles and tones and everything. I mean, and it's
But
not
no,
just
is
rap.
there
Actually,
like Tupac is Jefferson kind of thing?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Who is Jefferson is
They resurrected
no
him?
Jefferson is like old Southern, is like Southern blues, but a little bit of like that kind of like Louisiana rap.
Okay. I gotcha. Like Dirty South kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems like you have to know a lot of the culture in order to really enjoy it.
You had to really appreciate it. It helps, but you could easily enjoy it just going into it listening. But it's also not just hip hop. I mean, so like the British, the King George has songs as well, which is all like 60s, like the Monkees and the
British Invasion.
British Invasion, exactly. Very good.
The Monkees were British Invasion?
They were.
No, they were a product of.
Yeah,
exactly.
They were an influence, definitely.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Anyway,
they were an influence.
They influenced. They took the British stuff and kind of copied it. I think, right?
Yeah. I thought you were saying that like the Beatles were influenced by the Monkees.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry I went off on this tangent. The point I was trying to make was that in that time frame when it was supposed to be like the most precious time of a person's life as far as music, it was fucking nothing for me. And all I listened to be honest with you, was classical music. That's really all I listened to in like, sophomore, junior, and senior year of high school and freshman year of college. Really, I listened mostly to classical music.
I think that's interesting. I agree that I like to listen to music without any lyrics sometimes when I'm doing something. I tend to really, really listen to lyrics and really like singing because that's kind of my obsession, I guess, is listening to the voices. Really the more melodic instruments. So the guitar and the voice are kind of the ones I always pop into my head because I'm more of a melody kind of guy, I guess. But anyways, the point is that the music I like listening to in the background is jazz and classical because there's no really thing to bother me. It just simply soothes my soul when I can read or pay to read an article or whatever like that. So,
I'm the opposite. I can't listen to classical or jazz when I'm trying to focus because I focus too much on the music.
Interesting.
I focus much more on the music of classical and jazz than I do on the music of like songs with lyrics in them for the most part.
I think that's more opposite than most people, but I think that's
it's definitely opposite of most people. I engage more with classical and jazz.
Okay, I wanted to ask a question kind of about Springsteen here because I like the whole, especially you guys talked about Meatloaf earlier, the East Coast, West Coast thing of America. I like the fact that there are certain bands that everyone knows in the East Coast. They're just like, everyone knows Springsteen is huge in the East Coast. Everyone knows Meatloaf on the East Coast.
Springsteen was huge everywhere.
Kind of.
Yeah, he is.
Kind of. Not on the West Coast as much. Anyways.
Nobody else like claims him. Like Jersey like fucking claims
But I guess
Springsteen.
my point is like there's bands like X that were big in the West Coast in like the 80s and like 90s that I didn't even hear of until I kind of even...
Yeah,
I never even heard...
I still haven't heard of X.
They're pretty big. And I never even heard of them because I grew up in the East Coast. So there's certain West Coast bands that I guess that we just like... my point is that if you never really grew up with them, maybe you're never going to hear them and you're never going to want to get into them. No, I guess not Springsteen's not the perfect example because he's too big. But there are other kind of East Coast bands
that nobody had heard of. I guess you know what a good example is?
Well, I was going to say Meatloaf is my example. I think
everybody heard of Meatloaf too.
I don't know.
Dude.
Everyone knows Rocky Horror.
I don't know if they know Meatloaf.
Bad Out of Hell was fucking one of the... Bad Out of Hell was like, what, the second... It was like the second highest album
Yeah, but
ever.
you're a Jersey boy.
No, I'm saying ever, like behind Thriller. Like
No. It's not that big.
Bad Out of Hell was pretty fucking huge. I'm pretty sure
it's big. It's
at
not
the
like
time.
I don't think it's like number 2 or 3. It's probably
at the time. Maybe not now, but at the time, it's up there, man. I feel like it's top 5. Look it up.
All right, we'll go fact check here. Well, my point is really about
there are some East Coast and West Coast bands that the opposite sides of the country don't hear.
But I also like the idea that Springsteen
isn't that less and less these days, though.
Yeah,
I feel like that's just not.
No, I think that's gone. I guess my point is that we've had just like we have a global economy, we have a global.
The most recent one I think was like so there was that song.
Gangnam Style.
Hey There Delilah, that like Plain White Tees song. You know that song?
Yeah, I know
Hey
that
There
song.
Delilah.
Yeah.
That was like I knew about that song, or I had heard that song at least like on the radio, and then I came out here, and like 3 years later, everybody started playing that song. I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, this new band, this new song. And that's a good example of something current, but I can't think of anything recent like that. I mean, that's almost 10 years ago when that,
is
or
that
probably less.
Just kind of a product of the
radio itself.
Well, not even the radio, but like the less like when you get below radio level and you're just like a touring band and you're not necessarily radio play. So like if you're in a touring band, you're just kind of like going up and down the East Coast.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So you build that fan base,
right?
You build that sort of local base.
Probably.
I think you have to blow up to a certain point to be a national
it's
star.
It's such a bummer too, man, because I fucking live right on Sunset Boulevard and I want to go to all those shows, man. I want to go to the Whiskey. I want to go to the Viper Room. I want to go to I want to hit those up, but the bands are always just kind of rough. They're always just bad.
Really?
It's just pay to play bullshit, man.
Oh, gotcha.
So this maybe is,
and it sucks.
I don't know. Do you think this is a symptom of the larger problem with music industry right now? You think there's just a saturation of talent, or saturation of mediocre talent, I suppose?
No, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a saturation of mediocre talent. It's a question of like what. I mean, first of all, it's the live aspect of it. I mean, there are plenty of amazing DJs playing EDM music, and that's kind of the newer wave of music right now that. You might not like it, but that's where it is. That's where at least the talent is. And so
watch that
if you're looking for live...
I'm not a fan of that when you say
you might not like it, but I'm just suggesting as far as live music is concerned, it's hard to find a band. Like there aren't as many just good bands out there, like a couple guys, playing their instruments and playing it very, very well and going out and, doing this. There are plenty that are okay at it, but it's all sort of vaguely the same.
Yeah,
I feel no audience for it. I think.
Yeah, that's the
right.
thing.
And the audience right now is with the EDM music,
yeah,
essentially.
Unfortunately, which is just
Why don't you like EDM music?
I don't like the idea of a dude with an iPod just being able to fucking do just stand there and hit buttons.
But they're creating the music beforehand. I mean, they're composing the music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying.
Wait,
Still kind of weird.
Wait, you thought he was just playing a song?
Yeah, I thought they were just
Where did you
glorified
think the music
DJs.
came from?
Like, essentially, just mixing between one and the other song, and like,
They are, but
well,
it's their
kinda.
songs.
oh, I didn't
Well,
realize
Yeah,
that.
they're composing
sampling
music.
many different
So
songs.
when they're talking about,
Yeah, that's part of it,
is
too.
it EDM DJs specifically that are making?
No, well, that's the thing, because like EDM is a huge. There's so many different.
What does EDM
genres
stand
of-
for, Sean O'Brien?
Electronic dance music.
There you
Very
go.
good.
Wow.
Very good.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
I know things.
Did you think I was just throwing out the acronym?
No, I wanted you to say for the listeners.
Oh, got
Oh,
it. Sorry,
you just
you're
like
right.
his voice. I'm sorry, I ruined it.
No, I'm glad you did.
I
might
just
have
didn't
fucked it
think
up.
you would know it, honestly. That's all.
Yeah, no, like house music, techno music. When I was growing up, it was called techno,
Mhm.
right? And then it became house or whatever, but et cetera. But there's a whole kind of broad spectrum of genres now, and even dubstep is like an element of that. Which
I
I've
guess
heard
just
a
when I
person-
think of DJ, I just think of someone playing other
Well,
people's music.
Sean, your gripe, Sean Fall, your gripe is that.
Shut up.
well, yeah, but that's MCs. Like MCs during the hip hop era were the same thing. They would mix
Okay.
the albums and they were sampling.
But okay, here's a different thing, though. There's a difference
Okay.
because the live performance is a different thing. And he's kind of right, whereas a guy named Skrillex can kind of press play on his iPod during a live performance. Whereas
Right.
an MC or whatever, NWA, is actually going to rap the shit during a live performance.
Exactly. I mean, what's the difference
Yeah.
between the Beatles getting up there and just putting the White Album on a turntable and blasting it?
As far as I understand, those DJs are actually. They're not just mixing their own songs, necessarily speaking. I think that they are actively doing it, and I think also, to be
They
honest,
might
with
be
you,
doing
part
a
of it is
little.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
I've heard
not-
the
so,
concept
no,
of like
obviously
reading the
they're
room
definitely
and
not.
trying to like gain.
Sure, I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, no. The one thing I was going to talk about was the shows themselves. So the lights are actually part of it, and the atmosphere that you're creating.
The
in
drugs.
Sure, but I mean, the atmosphere that you're creating in it is part of it. I've never fucking been to any of these shows.
I have.
I'm not
I've
even
been to
sure.
one.
Yeah.
I've been to a-
Actually, yes, I have. What am I saying?
Where'd you go?
I don't remember. It's like some rant, you know what I mean?
The
Like club after
drugs.
club. I wish. No.
So I went to a show, I think it's the Palladium in Hollywood. It was Bass Nectar. Bass Nectar is pretty much dubstep / EDM.
I like dubstep, man. It sounds like fax machines fucking.
So you'd like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I don't particularly like it. I was kind of going because my friend wanted me to go. I just kind of wanted to see it. I like the buildup of it. I like the whole idea of the drop. I
Sure.
like the dubstep has that big buildup. Or in film, I like to call it the glissando, if you will. Glissando is a big shift from one note to another, almost
Mhm.
like a rising in pitch, and it creates a real big increase in tension.
Mhm.
So I like that whole buildup of music and a big payoff and the climax and all that stuff. So I can appreciate that. I just don't. I don't like the fans, honestly. Like standing in the show, they were just kind of like getting excited to be in a mosh pit. Everyone was just trying to just like hit on the girl next to them. It was just like every other show.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say.
so-
So what's the difference?
Isn't
But
that just teenagers?
No,
being-
it was. That's kind of the thing. Is just I don't really like that crew. I mean, whereas if you go to a different
Well, you're
band,
just too old.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'm just a fuddy duddy who
Yeah.
doesn't like that. Probably, yeah. I think I've kind of grown out of that.
If you went to any club, any band, it was the same thing back in the day.
Yeah, I've always.
I don't
been
know if there
old.
was
I've always hated
mosh
people.
pits back in the day.
Are you, well,
Obviously
that was
not
my
back
day.
in the day, but back in my day, yeah.
Well,
it was
yeah. What do we
fucking
call
mosh
them back
pits.
in the day?
I meant
'Cause-
like before the 70s or something.
No, of course
Oh,
not. There were no mosh pits.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Well, yeah, probably back to like the late 70s.
Mosh pits started, I believe,
I
during
think-
punk.
Punk, yeah.
Yeah.
So late 70s.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Know what I just said?
Yeah.
Shit,
Yeah,
man.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I know things. God.
Crazy. Okay.
Continue.
Let's see. Do we want to go to one of my questions, Sean? Did you finish your top 5, Sean O'Brien? Do you want?
Well, no, I didn't. So if I had to really rank them in general, it's hard to
I mean,
say.
we had
man. I
Nevermind.
love-
We had a Springsteen.
No, but Nevermind was. I didn't say. No.
brought
Springsteen was
up
just like what I
Springsteen.
liked. No, I said Springsteen was like what I liked growing up. But I mean, this is when I was
Oh.
5,
Yeah,
6,
yeah,
7 years old. I didn't really. I didn't actively like Springsteen. Did Yuri just fucking
Yeah.
scratch you?
Yeah,
Nice.
it's all right.
You try to bite them.
My first album was Nevermind. I've always loved Nevermind. I love OK Computer. I don't really. I guess Pinkerton, but it's tough, man. I really don't. I don't know. When the other album I really liked when I was growing up was Evil Empire. Evil Empire, right?
Yeah.
The Rage Against the
Machine.
I liked that album.
Bulls on Parade.
Yep. I don't know, man. It's tough. I genuinely don't have like a list of top 5 favorite albums. I wish I did. But I think I'm with Sean in a way that I prefer concept albums over just, a grouping of songs.
So I was going to suggest to Sean Fau that you might like more prog rock. I think you might more concept albums of prog rock. That's kind of why I started with Rush and Yes.
Yeah.
Rush's 2112 is kind of a real concept album you might like, I feel like.
Yeah.
You also might identify with Neil Peart's. He's the drummer. He's
Neil
maybe one of
Peart.
the best. I think it's Peart.
I've always heard Pert.
I know. I think that's wrong.
Oh, okay.
I feel like
Sorry.
very hipster saying that.
Sure, yeah, it's totally hipster. Pierce. You're probably
Aluminium.
right.
But anyway, he writes all the lyrics, and all his
Yeah.
lyrics are very kind of libertarian, kind of Ayn Rand, kind of conservative-ish.
Gotcha.
So that you might kind of identify with some of those political slants there.
This is Yes?
No, this is Rush.
Rush.
Oh, Rush. Okay.
Rush is pretty damn good also musically. Like their guitar player is just one of the best technically, Alex Leifson, there is.
Yeah, I think it's one that I just never tried enough. Like, I've heard it ancillarily.
Do you like Radiohead, by the way?
No.
Okay.
No,
Um,
you wouldn't like Radiohead.
I didn't think so either, but
Well, I don't actively dislike them.
I know, I
couldn't-
understand.
Again, I couldn't really even
I also
identify
feel
a
like
song.
you might
from
like
them.
an old Emerson, Lake and Palmer album
That
called
sounds like something I like.
Taurus. Taurus is one of the first concept
What's
albums.
a song off that?
I don't know if I can actually. I wish we could.
Wait,
we
what was
can't
Emerson,
play
Lake and
shit.
Palmer? You were saying?
Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh yeah.
I'll look it up. I mean, I think it's just more of a concept album. There's not like one single off it where it's kind of just a cool.
Their one big single was
Lucky Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lucky Man's a great song though.
Anyway, so I don't think you dislike Radiohead. Like, obviously you don't dislike Radiohead, but there aren't even really songs. Like, you might know Karma Police or like Paranoid Android, but
Okay.
but those are like story songs as well. But they're not as. I guess it's so if you think of like Stairway to Heaven,
Yeah.
like we were saying before, it's
Yeah.
not like it's more along those lines. Where
Yeah,
it's
it always
not.
seems like something you'd have to like
Yeah,
be
it's not like a
depressed and lock
follower.
yourself in the room sort of thing.
I can't. People have always said that, which I guess must have been the case. When I really got into Radiohead, it had to be the case because I loved them.
I feel like that was just like the goth kids I was exposed to I was a few years ahead.
Totally.
Well,
Yeah,
Tom
exactly.
York's voice sounds like a whiny white kid.
Yeah.
So and the music has definitely got some sort of
Oh, it's totally
minor
morose.
key
Oh,
slant
okay.
on every
Yeah.
song.
I just got Karma Police in my head.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't really like Radiohead. Though.
Yeah, I figured. It's more the concept album element of Radiohead
Gotcha.
that I think you'd appreciate.
You might like
Okay.
one or two.
Yeah, I'm sure
Weird
there'd be
albums,
a few, but no,
You'd
it's not
you'd
something
like
I
the
pursue.
album itself. You'd
Hmm.
like OK
If I
Computer.
like sat down and okay.
I think he'd like Kid A. I think he'd like one of their.
No way would he like Kid A, man.
I think he'd like that.
No
I think
fucking way would he like Kid
we'll
A.
have to try this. See, maybe next time we'll play it like a game. Like, will Sean like it?
I would say
Oh,
the Bends. He would like the Bends for sure. Probably a little bit more than OK Computer, but he'd appreciate the narrative of OK Computer better than the narrative of the Bends.
That's when there's too much nitrogen in your.
Exactly. Well, that's what it's referring to, actually.
The concept
Specifically,
is about,
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
But in a
Baby's
more
got the
poetic sense, of
bends.
course, as far as whatever. You get it.
I'm not poetic.
Sure you are. Joey, go ahead. What do you got?
Okay, so I guess I want to bring this back to musical education because Sean was saying that, I don't know musical
Yeah.
notes, blah, blah, blah. I think actually you could if we started early enough. And this is kind of a weird theory I always wanted to think about, and maybe it just kind of floated, is that we always teach children colors when they're really young, you know? And why don't we just teach children, like, I don't know, the first 8 notes from middle C in the middle of a piano or something like that, just to kind of get their brains started in thinking about music. I think it'd be just a huge boon. I think we get a lot more out of it.
Did you not? I did have
Yeah, I
like a
think that
music
there is
class in
that.
grade school. Like I remember
Yeah,
them
me too.
writing the letters on the board
Wow,
and making
really?
the music notes.
Yeah, me
but,
too.
like it never like my dyslexia just kept me.
We
from
had
any
that
of
where we all
that.
played recorders, but I don't think it was like.
Yeah, that was the whole fucking country plays a recorder in like
Right.
second grade.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
that's
right.
the thing.
That's so lame.
It might not be
though.
the lack of music education.
That's got to be a
it's the-
conspiracy, right? Like
What?
there's some sort of
Oh,
recorder
yeah.
lobbyist or something that is like.
No, it's just the
keeping
most
this-
basic instrument. You're going to give everyone a fucking trumpet?
Who
I mean, you
owns-
can go to a flute. You can go to like any
That's
other
difficult
instrument
to
that
play.
people have heard of.
There's
Like-
there's no easier. What you can either give everyone a drum or a recorder. Drums are more expensive. Flutes are like a recorder is just the cheapest and easiest to play. And
So,
most
guys, it turns out that Northrop Grumman makes all the recorders in the country. So,
It's got to be.
yeah, it's got to be a conspiracy.
It's Halliburton.
No, it's
But
most
that's a good
basic.
point. I think we learned the recorder in second grade.
Yeah,
I forget
sounds
about
about
Yep,
right.
exactly.
So,
Actually, no. I think it. Yeah, maybe second grade.
but I guess I don't really like it. Like, I think there's an easier, simpler way to do it in kindergarten or in just kind of basic. Like,
Yeah,
and
it
start
certainly
them
needs to be
younger
earlier.
and start them kind of
See,
more.
I don't think it's. Go ahead.
more broad, I guess I would say. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if it's necessarily the amount that it's taught or when it's taught or the fervor with which it's taught. I don't know if it's taught well or really taught correctly, and people don't know how to connect music itself in a way. In the same way that art isn't taught well. I mean, most art isn't taught well.
The one thing that is never taught, or in my experience is never taught in school music, is the creation process.
Exactly. That's the point.
You're taught, and that's to me that seems different than like just about every other subject. Like in English, you're taught to read, but you're also taught to create a story and things like that. In music, it's all just like regurgitation, and like recitals and shit like that.
Exactly, and that's the biggest problem when it comes to art in general. Whenever they try to teach music or art, they don't really foster the creative process itself, and they don't teach it in a way that we were talking about exactly. Like you said, okay, I have paint, and kind of what you have, at least a palette to use, but you also aren't necessarily representing any of those colors with things, right? But as far as music, like you wouldn't know where to start. You were saying
in my education, yes, but no.
I know. That's what I meant before. Like as far as when it first started.
This is an interesting point, because I've really been trying to learn what's called perfect pitch. Perfect pitch is the idea that you can pretty much recall any specific note at any time. Mm-hmm. The most advanced form of this is like waking up in the morning, be able to sing a specific note, like A or whatever.
That was not an A.
Of course it wasn't. And I don't have perfect pitch, but I tried to do it for a little while.
A. Close.
Listeners, please tweet us and tell us. No, but the point is that
I can pitch shift.
More importantly than that, teaching kids in that is what's really more important, and people forget this, is called relative pitch. Relative pitch is the relationship between the notes.
Right.
Think about like playing a specific chord and hearing a chord and being like, okay, that's this note, and this note, and they all relate to each other, so it creates this kind of chord. That is really interesting, and that's something that's subjective, or not subjective, but more subconscious when we think about it in terms of colors. Like, how do we think about the relationship between blue and purple, or red and orange? That's actually more the relationship between an A and a B, or a G and an A, or whatever. So I think that is kind of something that we don't teach at all.
Yeah.
No,
and that is something that's kind of intuitive when it comes to everything else. But
a music
we don't,
wheel instead of a color wheel.
Yeah, we just forget that spectrum of it.
Hmm.
I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I mean. I don't think it's taught well. I don't think music is taught well in schools at all. It could be, and we could learn a lot from it, obviously. But
which is odd, because it's like one of the few subjects, especially in like grade school, that has a specific dedicated class.
Right.
Like,
and it's something that everybody can connect to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody in the world listens to music, loves music, and arguably can create music. You know what I mean? But everybody's always intimidated to try or just to go for it. But it's because they're like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what this means. I don't know how to, even myself, like it's hard. Like,
we put musicians on a big pedestal. And what's interesting is singers too. I used to take vocal classes and do a couple of vocal lessons, and I found out, and I really thought this, that there were more tone deaf people. Mm-hmm. So tone deaf means like you can't really just follow a pitch. You can't keep a tune. You can't hold a tune. I had a vocal class in college. I took one of these classes just because I thought it'd be an easy A. It was like the easiest intro vocal class, and there was a bunch of kids who just obviously wanted an easy A too. So they came there completely tone deaf. There was a couple, or at least they thought so. And it turned out that there was a couple kids there who thought they were tone deaf. That by the end of the class, they were actually decent. And so I really have this theory that there actually is maybe 1% of the population who's tone deaf, but like 30% of the people think they're tone deaf.
Yeah.
I think that it goes back to your intimidation factor, but I think that we just have all this kind of untapped musical potential in us. And it really bugs me that I feel like it's just dormant in pretty much half the population because of our lack of fostering in the educational system, I think.
Yes, but I think it's a skill like anything else that can be developed. So
True.
I mean,
it can be nurtured. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's like saying that there's a lack of beer making appreciation. It's just a random thing that people can do that anyone can put enough time into to really develop. I think the term tone deaf just kind of gives it that connotation where it's like either there or it's not, rather than it's an acquired taste or an acquired skill.
Cool.
I could jump on that. I'm not gonna. It's cool. It's fair. Go for it.
No, I guess that's basically
it's only because it's not, because I think that music
is more universal than other things.
Music and art and kind of the creative thing, like the creative processes. Sure could. I think it comes back to the hobby thing that you're like the different, the equating art to a hobby element of it, which isn't unfair. But I would say more people connect to music than they do beer. You know what I mean?
Well, I was actually just listening today to a Freakonomics episode about basically the 10,000 hours thing.
Right. Yeah.
So
exactly.
The one specifically had the story of a woman that always wanted to be a singer, and she started recording herself singing, and she realized that she was absolutely god awful.
Mhm.
So she just put in the hours, and eventually at some point she like hit this wall where she could actually start singing.
Totally.
And so I tend to think that it is just one of this many skills that you could develop, but you could also spend that time developing a skill for color correction and become, a film person, or, you can
100%. So I totally agree with you.
This brings me back to kind of the point I wanted to make.
Which is what I thought the point you were making too.
But
is that
I try and say as few words as
no, it was good. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
should music education at the expense of other education? Meaning, we only have a certain amount of money to put into our schools.
Yeah.
Should we be? And this is what's happening: is that they're cutting music and hopefully putting it into math and science, which is what they think is going to give us more GDP. What's going to give us more money?
This is more of an education. This is more of an education.
It's an
episode,
education
but
question, but I guess it relates to music in that should we be cutting musical programs because it's not really leading to specific jobs and economic benefits?
No.
Yeah,
Really?
The Traw hater is not going to agree.
Wow.
With
Okay. I thought maybe I could get Sean on.
No, when we get into education, we have to do a whole show about that. But I have huge problems with the entire idea of funding of education. The idea that we don't have a federal equal playing field for education is absolutely ridiculous to me. The idea that education is funded by your property tax dollars is ludicrous. It should be something that is, if we want to create a fair playing field for people, we have to, do it just like we do everything else and put everything in a pool and divvy it up, on a per student basis. Like this idea that poor communities have shitty schools and rich communities have really nice schools is just fucking atrocious. I grew up in a rich neighborhood.
Wow.
I wasn't rich, but like I had access to a fairly decent school. And, if I didn't happen to have my mother marry my stepfather who happened to live in a reasonable zip code, things could have turned out much different. And that's asinine in this country.
I 100% agree. I think that's, I can't even say anything more than that. I think it's just genius what you just said. I'm surprised I haven't quite got on board with that more and just kind of saying throw out the fucking system with that. I agree. What's so weird to me is that I knew all about this because when I grew up in kind of the city and the suburbs, and there was a lot of kids who would kind of have that fake address or have their aunt's address just so they could go to this one school in the suburbs. And that's fucking crazy. That's bullshit. Why are we having? And it seems very anti-progressive. It's regressive because it's causing the same poor communities to get worse education. Which
it's incestuous. It keeps all of the money with the money people, and it keeps the poor communities poor. It's part of that. What I was talking about earlier, I know this is supposed to be a music episode, but the idea that the conspiracy is the idea of race when the real divide is economic.
Right. But then there's, we could get into whole other racial real estate issues and,
Right, but I think that's all contrived just to distract us from the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah, well, I'm with you there too.
I'm not. I don't think move on to music.
I don't think it's all. I don't think it's all. I don't think it's all distraction. But I do understand what you're saying in that.
It's perpetuated for that reason.
No, I get that. Sure.
It's not a myth. It's not a fallacy.
There's a reason who started the drug war.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, you're right. We should get back to it.
Are you guys all on board that the CIA started crack? Is this like
started crack
or introduced crack into the ghettos? Is this a common? Okay, this is still conspiracy.
Yeah,
I guess. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm unwilling to believe that.
Okay.
Just on the surface.
Are we saving this? Was this a tease for another?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I've just been on the conspiracy.
No, he's been on the conspiracy. Yeah. I love it, man. That's good. We'll have to do more. I'm down.
Okay.
Go ahead. So music. What do you want? What do you want to know music wise?
That's kind of music related though. Compton and crack and the whole.
It can be.
Well, it is.
I can make it work.
Well, I guess my next question was
It's a
similar.
Whitney Houston one.
I guess it's like, why do we divide ourselves kind of by those tastes in music? And then, like, we're in high school, why do we sit at the table that, like, the metalheads sit to? Why do we have,
Well, we don't. No, it's the other way around.
the jam band kids are all
We
hanging
find
out.
people who like the same music we do.
Okay. And you think that,
stay with
and that it
them.
does occur in that age range of 16 to 19.
It's that direction of it.
That's
It's
when
not
the
like,
flags go up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's a flags go. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's not like a bunch of people, hanging out together for no reason all of a sudden started liking the same band. It's more likely that
Yeah, I feel like
okay.
music really started to become defining around like junior high-ish. And I think
Right.
that's when like your friends kind of, in grade school, your friend is just the boy that lives closest to you. Like, but in once
Yeah.
you start branching out, then there's people that you start to gravitate towards.
yeah, and then you influence one another, and so and it's not like you're always going to like the same bands.
But band shirts are like why they become sort of a flag or a
Right, exactly. Like if we've got two friends who grew up together listening to one song, and then a new kid in town comes in, and he and he
has
likes
the same
particular
Pink Floyd shirt on or whatever.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Then they'll gravitate toward each other in that sense. But it's just like-minded individuals.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw this one there because you're reminding me of something. So, Sean O'Brien, is there a specific friend of yours that turned you on to one band or artist where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I've never heard this guy before. I need to have him in my life. Or her, or whatever.
So
the artist.
yes and no. I've pretty much heard of most music in general. Just have a general understanding of music across the board of all spectrums. But there have been people who have kind of helped me into getting into those. Put it into context. So like Radiohead's a good example.
So
right?
your friend told you about Radiohead, and
I obviously knew about Radiohead, beforehand. I just didn't know how to get into them.
But someone you trusted,
Right, and my best friend basically just we were driving to Alaska, and he's like, well, fuck it, let's just listen to the Bends right now, and he put it on, and for the most part, I tend to educate myself on whatever it is really intensely. So I'll go into
this is shocking to me. You do research? What?
right, exactly. So it's like and that's as far as whether I like something or get into it. Usually has more to do with just me, studying it and really understanding it and getting into the heart of it. So it's rare that somebody has just turned me on to something flat out. However, another friend of mine, my friend Dave, is a huge music guy as well, and he and I would always bond over music. And he's another one who it didn't obviously didn't get me into the Rolling Stones, but allowed me to start recognizing the kind of arc of the Rolling Stones and each album specifically and the history of the Rolling Stones and all that stuff. I forget who got me into jazz. I think I ended up just figuring it out myself. I tried for so fucking long to really get into jazz. I don't think there was anyone who took me through it. I don't think, at least.
I like that jazz is an acquired taste, I think.
Yeah, it can be.
For certain people, I guess. And
For
for
sure.
me, the acquired taste for me was country music. Growing up in the city,
That's cool.
we never listened to country. I listened to rap and hip hop and rock and all that stuff, but not country. But recently I did get into
I
country.
grew up with the country.
Yeah, I think for most people, maybe it's the other way, I guess. I don't know.
What kind of country?
I like the stripped down Bakersfield sound.
Sure.
So,
What does that mean?
so Bakersfield is Bakersfield, California.
Okay.
A lot of the country artists from Nashville moved out to Bakersfield to get away from that really produced sound. The big,
When was this?
I'm going to guess 60s,
Yeah.
70s,
Oh, okay.
something like
I was
that.
gonna
I'm
say
familiar with like 80s.
Early
country.
70s.
So we're talking maybe Buck Owens, Merle Haggard, those kind of guys.
Didn't he just die?
Yeah, Merle Haggard just died, actually. Yeah, apropos. So anyways, I like that stripped down sound. I really love Buck Owens. In fact, I think Buck Owens is maybe one of the best voices in the history of the world. People don't realize this. But that's just me. And I like that. I don't like the overproduced country music. I like Willie Nelson. I like Johnny Cash. I like that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think that's kind of something I've recently have forced myself to get into, like that acquired taste, like kind of thing. And once you do, you start appreciating little things about it, the inflections in the voice and the.
Does that help you get into the modern country?
No, unfortunately.
See, it's funny
Or
'cause,
maybe
like,
fortunately.
No, it's unfortunate. I mean, I think
Country has become pop.
Well, yes and no. There's a lot of the blending between country and pop is or the line between a lot of country and a lot of pop is
I guess
non-existent at
popular
this
country
point.
is-
Exactly,
yeah.
this is pop country. And same thing with like pop, pop rock and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Bubblegum
It's a lot of
shit.
times whenever I'm trying to get into anything, it like putting anything that from music or poetry or books or fucking engineering, right? Putting anything or history, obviously, is just putting it into a historical context has always helped me. And so to understand like where that piece of music is coming from and what came before it and what came before that and what came before that gives me the sort of narrative through line for me to get into whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Have you ever read the 33 1/3 books? Do you know what I'm talking about?
It sounds familiar.
Okay, so there's these
Naked
little
Gun?
Yeah, right. That's the first thing you mind.
so these little books called like 33 1/3, and they're little books about just albums, and they have kind of the history of the album, the influences of the band.
No.
They're little like
I haven't
they're almost like pamphlet
Oh,
style,
that's neat.
but they're really cool. And when I was in college, every hipster had them for like OK Computer, for instance, or whatever, or like Ziggy Stardust, some big,
That's
big
rad,
albums. I feel like you would love them. So if you check them out,
Probably, yeah.
and they're really good, by the way. So I definitely will pimp them.
33 1/3 is a reference to the
size of the record.
yeah,
Yep.
I never made that reference to or that.
to Naked Gun. You mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a weird correlation.
Yeah, I don't really either. Yeah.
I don't know.
I
if
liked
there's
actually
any-
that Naked Gun. Completely off the topic.
Is
but-
that the only one
33
without
1/3?
OJ?
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
I don't know where I was going with this. I guess I was really getting to the fact, and kind of going on piggybacking what you were saying about a friend,
Mm.
pushing you into a certain path, I guess, about music. Sean Fall, any friends of yours kind of turned you on to a specific
Oh
artist?
yeah, definitely. I mean, most of the music I am aware of is because of friends, like other than Weird Al and country, which is what my parents listen to. I wouldn't be aware of, I never looked for music, so I wouldn't be aware of anything if it wasn't for roommates and people that were
Did you listen to the radio growing up?
I listened to mainly talk radio. So that's, where the whole
What
vibe-
ages? When you listening to talk radio?
He's a 4-year-old listening to talk radio.
For real, though.
Yeah, probably around like 9, 10.
You were listening to talk radio when you were 9 and 10?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
He's that kid with the briefcase and the cappuccino who walks into
That's
school.
really, yeah. That's
I
really interesting.
I used to have a little signed picture from one of the radio stars because I was like their youngest caller or something.
That's
when I was,
who was your guy, or who were your guys?
I
guess?
had a lot. I guess the first one I was introduced to, like the first one I remember, was this guy called Murphy in the Morning. He was a one of the original shock jocks. Like his billboards always had him like in a straight jacket and whatnot. He kind of looked like Dennis Miller with like that,
crazy hair,
the mullet. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. But I mean, I don't think that was anything out of the ordinary by today's standards. I think he was, it was just a morning show that was talking about daily events and news and things
was
like that.
based out of Chicago. This guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was all.
Would he
local.
play any music in between?
Musical stings, and once in a while they'd take like a little, break and play a couple of songs. But I think that was more about bathroom breaks than it was about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Chicago had a lot of good talk radio. We had we even had FM stations that were devoted to, was it the talk that rocks or whatever that, they were trying to be like more edgy talk and stuff. And then, I don't know. That was just something that,
That's so. Was there a music culture in Chicago?
oh yeah. I'm just not part of, like, all of my friends are very musically inclined.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
For some reason, I just never got drawn to it. Like almost every single one of my friends was in a band or was part of that. So, there's a lot of music that I was exposed
What
to.
famous bands came out of Chicago?
Well, there's to me, it's all the blues, all the Chicago blues.
Yeah.
The ground smashing pumpkins.
They're out of Chicago?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. That's cool.
There's quite a number. I'm sure all of my friends are yelling at me right now because I'm.
It's fine. No, it's
that's-
fine. It's just, and I guess that probably doesn't necessarily lend to anything. It's just very interesting. I don't know if I've ever met anybody who was into talk radio at such a young age. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, hence the Faucast Studios.
Oh, hey,
But,
man, I love it.
I guess like the one thing that really jumps out to me that was sort of a specific introduction by a friend was when I went to visit one of my friends who was at school in Iowa, and that was my first introduction.
Was it Dar Williams? I'm just kidding around. That's
no.
Go ahead.
It has nothing to do with it, other than just visiting a college or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I understand.
it was Mike Patton. So specifically at the time, it was Faith No More. But
Oh, okay, sure.
it kind of evolved from there. So that's
Right on.
yeah. I mean, and then like that's kind of, I got into the idea of the Chili Peppers and kind of spanning out
Mhm.
from there, and then got away from that when I realized the fight between the bands, and that's a whole nother sub thing.
How about Rancid?
Rancid, not really.
Okay.
Couldn't name a song. I mean,
Ruby Soho.
not a clue.
Okay.
What was it? I guess
Another one.
Soundgarden. Tool we talked about. Primus. Primus is like one of
You
those.
probably like Rancid, dude. It's like right in that realm. That's why I
Yeah, you
asked.
probably might.
Well, Primus specifically is right on that line between story song and novelty.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure.
Rancid's in there. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes and no. Rancid's
Okay.
more punk.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's what I never really liked the punk. For some
Ooh, I have a good one for you.
yeah.
Frank Zappa.
Hang on. He knows who he is, but he hasn't really heard any
Yeah,
songs.
I
Really?
couldn't name a song. No.
Ah, fuck.
I had
right now.
I've had a
can't
couple
either.
of
What if
friends
you don't
that
eat the
tell me
yellow
that I
snow
was
is the only thing I can
supposed
think of.
Oh, you like Zappa.
That's what I've heard,
I
yeah.
feel like that's up your alley.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
You might. I know it is true though, Sean. You do strike me as like an '80s guy for some reason, like an '80s rock guy. For some reason, I don't know what. Maybe that's where your head is going right now.
For sure.
Is Zappa 80s rock? I
No, it's
think
like
that's
70s.
Yeah,
70s,
okay.
but
But he tells a story. He's kind of weird. He's kinky. He's kooky. Ironically, though, never did any drugs.
They must have changed the flight path. The airplanes. are
Airplane,
coming
cool.
through.
Hold for sound, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue. What do you got?
I was actually going to list some of the Chicago bands just because I wanted to look up
sure.
some of the Chicago bands.
Chicago.
Is Chicago
Yeah.
actually from Chicago?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
better fucking
They
Yeah, they
started
are.
as CTA and then they got sued.
Transit
and then,
Authority. Yeah. Well, we have all the Chicago blues. Obviously, we have Muddy
Yeah.
Waters, and we have the
Mhm.
Junior Wells and Buddy Guy, Howlin' Wolf, Willie Dixon, but Bo Diddley,
Trick.
Elmore James, Cheap Trick. But there's also
I meant like the when he was growing up, like that
yeah,
kind of
no,
stuff.
I mean the rock stuff is actually what he said, kind of Smashing Pumpkins. There's Urge Overkill. I don't know if you know them.
I've heard of it.
Veruca Salt, maybe you know.
Veruca Salt, really?
America
Yeah.
South Chicago. That's awesome.
Yeah. Disturbed. Some death metal
Disturbing.
stuff.
Death metal was rough. How do you guys feel about death metal?
It depends. Sometimes.
Does Slipknot count as death metal?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'd say.
Then I like
I don't know
that.
if it's death metal,
Maybe that's more.
but they're definitely metal.
hardcore.
It's definitely a specific thing for a specific time.
Yeah, Slipknot's not bad.
I like the idea of multiple drummers.
I'm with you there, man.
And I also like the idea of large bands. So I like things with like brass. I like strings. I really like me a good fiddle.
How about the Dave Matthews Band?
No. Yeah.
They've got
No,
stories. They've
yeah.
got big bands. They've got what's your turn off to Dave Matthews?
No, I did get into them for a little while, but
Everybody did.
Yeah, I mean,
I did too, man. I think I still could easily rock out.
it's
I could
I-
on a couple songs. I could too.
it's okay.
The Central Park concert is probably the one thing that I'll just listen to that. That'd be a fun thing to do.
I'd rather listen to Simon and Garfunkel in Central Park.
Sure. You sound so hipster right now. I agree with you.
That was actually my next question. Actually,
okay.
Hello, Darkness.
I mean that's one song
That's
they
one of their
played
songs,
from
yeah.
that concert.
I win.
That's not the only one you know.
What's that?
That's not the only Simon and Garfunkel song you know.
It's called Sound of Silence.
No way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
What movie is it from, Sean?
Yeah, that I can do. That's Hitchhiker's Guide. No, the other one, The Graduate.
Nice. All of them were
Plastics.
from
Well done.
that
That's true.
whole you know.
Is that whole soundtrack Simon and Garfunkel?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Mrs. Robinson was originally called Joey?
Robinson? Robert.
Mrs. Roosevelt.
Mrs. Roosevelt.
Mrs. Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Really?
How
Yeah.
hot was that Eleanor
Was it
Roosevelt?
about, yeah, our
What-
first lesbian president?
What a cougar.
No. Yeah, that was the original. That was the original song itself, but then they obviously changed it to Mrs. Robinson for the movie.
Interesting. Okay.
Just going to Scarborough Fair real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever.
I
No big deal. Well, I guess
Out here in America.
so. My hipster question, I guess, is I don't even know how to say this. Do you like hipsters? Do you think that there is a hipster style of music? I mean, the whole idea of liking something before it's big. Do you guys have any kind of feelings on that?
That's always been the way for, like, I feel like that was a punk thing. I feel like that was
Okay.
Yeah,
Punk had a different agenda than hipster, though.
well, no, I feel like there's a specific type of people that just want something that seems personal. So, like, I think it's again going back to that idea of the touring band. Yeah, the idea of a band that doesn't necessarily get radio play, but is known in a certain area in a community, and I think people
Local.
like that. Yeah, maybe it's just because I grew up with so many friends that were in bands, but that just kind of seemed to be the thing. Like if there was some sort of connection, you've seen them at multiple shows, and then they're like once they get big, then there's that kind of shunning process, or that I knew them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess
it's almost like investing in a stock. It's kind of like
sure, it's interesting comparison. You're right, it's true.
It's like a weird sort of I guess cultural cachet or something that is traded between these groups of music people.
For sure. And we sometimes we wear it on our chests. We wear it on our band.
Literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I almost wore a Nirvana shirt here, actually, come to think of it.
I'm wearing an AC/DC shirt right now.
All of my shirts are black.
I wonder.
It works.
He's reflecting the Jay-Z and the Metallica Black Album. And Spinal Tap's None More Black.
That's more my
I forgot there, yeah.
the tap.
I mean, to put on my philosopher hat for a second, you have to define hipster first for me to know what it is I feel about them.
Well, I guess, okay. I think I was more alluding to what Sean was saying about liking something before it's popular. I'll give you an example of what kind of interesting, because they're not really known as hipsters. Led Zeppelin. When I was younger, I was the first kid in my class, was like 10, to listen to Led Zeppelin. And I was like, oh my God, listen to this band. No one's ever listened to this. Everyone's listening to Blink-182 and Backstreet Boys.
Right.
So I'm listening to Led
Goddamn
Zeppelin
kids.
on my Discman, on my Walkman or whatever.
I wrote so many parodies to Blink-182 songs, by the way. I had literally like a whole stack of parodies, man.
It's
I was
another
a
band.
huge
Like,
weirdo.
I know the name, but I can't name a song.
All the small things.
Yeah, all the small things. What's my age again?
Oh, that one.
What's the other fucking really classic one?
There's another one I know too. I forget.
All the small things. Ding ding ding.
Someone's song, something song.
Ding, ding, ding.
Isn't it like Jeremy's song or some shit like
I
that?
want to say Jeremy's song, but I know it's not Jeremy's song.
Jeremy?
It's just, no,
I know.
that's Pearl Jam.
I know Pearl Jam.
They would never say that.
It is. It does start with a J, though. You're right.
I don't remember.
Whatever. Anyway.
Okay. Well, the point is that, so I was into Led Zeppelin and no one else was. Then all of a sudden, it wasn't even like that many people, but I turned like 16 or 15 and like 4 kids in my class, 4 guys in one little crew started liking Led Zeppelin. I was like, I don't like them anymore. And I didn't listen to Led Zeppelin for like 3 years until I got to college where I was by myself.
So you just are a hipster.
Yeah, I'm just a contrarian douchebag hipster. So I guess I was wondering, am I just that's a natural thing for me. I didn't like, I'm trying to be hipster. I'm trying to do this. I was just naturally.
You have a beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hair is kind of long. You're wearing an AC/DC shirt.
I got the glasses.
What do we talk about for shoes wise? What's going on with your feet right now?
Like
Oh no,
Crocs
I
or
really
something?
didn't want to talk about that
You're wearing
because
socks
I'm
and
currently
sandals,
wearing
man.
socks and sandals.
You're
Yeah.
a fucking hipster, dude.
I-
Are you really? Hang
It's
on.
a podcast, guys. Come on, don't judge me.
I'm not judging you, but you brought up hipster.
I
I
always
really
judge sandals, and I judge socks and sandals even
I
harsher.
don't judge.
You
I don't
should
judge.
judge. I just
period,
didn't
man.
think this would be a topic of conversation today.
I judge
so
everyone
Sorry, man.
always.
You brought up
Damn it.
hipsters. I'm sorry. So there you go. There's your answer.
Yep.
But to answer your actual question, no, man, hipsters are fine. I don't have a problem with hipsters at all.
Well, you like me.
Exactly. See?
The thing is, I think hipsters don't even want to say they're hipsters, so it's tough to identify them.
Yeah, I just
it's
don't
hard
like
to say.
douchebags.
It's hard to say. Yeah, you're right. Like I think many hipsters may reject the lumping them into the other hipsters. Perhaps. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I think there's an element of the culture itself. Like if you just kind of fucking walk up and down, Vermont Ave in Los Feliz, you get a sense of what a hipster is, right?
For sure.
So it's usually like a throwback. It's like it's a modern steampunk, I guess,
Yeah.
in a weird way. Sure. I don't know. It's cute. It's kind of fun. It's charming. I'm cool with hipsters. I like hipsters.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that sort of weird thing of like I'm going to be my own person by dressing like everyone else, and that's just kind of like a common theme through history, though. I mean, you look at the hippies; they were all trying to do their own thing, but then you can really
Right, they
kind
were
of lump them
like-minded.
into one
Sure.
sort of homogenous thing.
Yeah.
With every genre, you look at disco people, like they all thought they were being, innovative and whatnot, but they're a homogenous thing.
What is?
Like-
Yeah, that's what's tough though too. Is I actually don't know what hipster music would be though. That's what's tough
I don't
about
think
it.
there is a specific.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's just esoteric, lesser known. I think it's just whatever the fringe of anything is. So just
I guess
not
that's fair.
mainstream.
I think
That's
also
totally fair.
influence plays a big deal in the hipster community. Meaning, even
History.
if the Velvet Underground never made a buck, they influenced so many different people. So now we're gonna love the Velvet Underground. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Oh.
like so so it goes back to what
Culture
Sean was
points.
saying too. Yeah, the unsung heroes.
The original
Unsung heroes, yeah. So like hence why they'll a typewriter. They'll type on a typewriter rather than a computer.
Mhm.
The unsung heroes. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so this kind of brings me up to another point that was talked about in another podcast and usually brought up. But so I guess what happens if a band today samples another band from maybe, let's say, the 70s or something like that, and then a child grows up and listens to this song and then thinks that sampled part is actually written by the new artist and not the original artist. Do you see a problem with
No.
that at all?
Go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you think.
I want to go back to let me take that specific point back to hip hop real quick, and education for that matter. In the late 70s, mid 80s, they started to take instruments and music education out of the inner city schools, and literally there weren't necessarily speaking too many instruments for inner city kids to get their hands on.
Okay.
Right, predominantly black, of course.
Sure.
Hence why and so what ended up becoming hip hop really was them sampling. You'd hold in New York, they would hold parties, essentially like street parties, and you'd take the records that their old parents' records and you just play those and you'd mix those between,
House.
kind of scratch house, not necessarily house, but it was like
I thought that's where the term came from.
that's
House
where,
parties?
Yeah, house
Yeah.
parties. Yeah, they would all play it at the house parties. Yeah.
Kid and
at
play,
a house
yo.
party, yes, but it was really more out street parties though. They was
okay.
They were block parties, is what they really were. It was a
Okay.
block
Yeah.
party, and DJs would.
Which is a weird urban phenomenon.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I've
That's
never-
that's where it all came
yeah.
from. That's where hip hop was birthed out of, was the fact that they were using music as their new instrument, and the turntable itself became the instrument.
Right.
And you would sample it, and you would use those mixes, and the best people could take this most obscure. That's why Jay-Z at his core, or not Jay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Dre?
Yeah, Jesus Christ, Dre. Jay-Z's fine too, though. But Dre's a fucking nerd, man.
Yeah.
Dre's literally just a music nerd who knows all the songs, anything you can imagine, right? As far as
I have a
his
couple-
specific.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, go for it.
No, I mean, he doesn't write his own lyrics. That's the only thing.
But the lyrics have nothing to do with it. That's what I'm saying. He's an arranger. He's a
Okay,
musician.
fair
in
enough.
that sense. He's a
You're
music
right.
nerd. I mean, look, Cube is a nerd too, but he's just a poet nerd.
I'm not dissing Dre. I'm just saying a lot of people don't realize that he doesn't write all his raps. That's all. Go ahead.
No, for sure. That's fine. I understand. He's a producer. That's cool. But as far as musically, I don't think anybody at the time could hold a candle to him.
No, I think you're right. And his taste happened to be great, which he liked.
Yeah, that's the
he
other key of
liked
it, too.
like a great period
The
of
most
like
obscure
70s funk
sampling.
and
Talk
soul,
about hipsters, right?
which happens to be perfect for these awesome rhythms to rap over.
Right. So as far as like a sample itself, right, which is taking the small chunk of music from a different song and using that essentially as your own. I mean, look, I'm a modernist at heart, man. So you got James Joyce, T.S. Eliot, Virginia Woolf. That's what they did. They'd take little sections of antiquity and mash them up into this new thing in order to create art out of it. So if anything, it's my favorite type of art.
You could argue that George Lucas and Tarantino do the same thing.
No,
You don't think so?
There's a yes and no. You could obviously argue that, but as far as my connection to it is slightly different. But I don't feel like going into that.
Okay.
Because that's a movie episode. But it's fine. I mean, it's not, yes, you're right. You're right in the end. You definitely could argue that for sure.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't that.
Personally speaking, I don't connect to it as well in the same respect. And that might be more my connection to movies, where I'm, it takes a lot more work for me to connect to poetry and music, and I engage with it on a very different level, where with movies it's fucking so it literally, movies seep in my blood. It's almost impossible for me to like separate myself from it, so it's hard for
I know
me
you don't
to-
really don't want to delve into this, but
No, we can.
Can
I
I
don't
ask?
give a shit.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
for instance, let's say you watch a Tarantino movie and
Sure.
you hear Ennio Morricone's amazing soundtrack, right? You hear from Kill Bill. You hear the actual soundtrack from For a Few Dollars More.
Right.
You know, it's a great spaghetti western. You know, Sergio Leone, and then that kid grows up and thinks, oh my God, Tarantino has an amazing composer. He's a genius, and whoever made this. But they never going to know Ennio Morricone did that. To me, that bothers me.
But that's the kid's problem. It has nothing to do with Tarantino.
Yeah, to me,
No, I guess you're right, but I see a problem there somehow. I don't know how to fix it and who to put the blame on, but
the kid.
well, this whole thing is it's about
It's an
copyright
homage.
law.
I mean,
It's about the copyright and patent system, and copyright is ridiculous. And I don't want to get off on my Disney rant again, but to me, first off, we need to shorten copyright time spans. But if we do that, then all it is a big bibliography. So as long as those artists are credited in that song, I am all about it.
There's no liner notes for movies, really.
But they're in there. I mean, that's kind of the thing with like the old the Wrecking Crew. So like, you know, all of these guys that worked on all of these albums that are never actually credited anywhere. I think that's, you know, especially in today's system.
You're a bit of a hipster too, apparently.
I saw the documentary.
I'm kidding around. Just making a joke, man.
God damn it!
He actually kind of is.
Yeah,
in some ways.
What he is? What
a hipster?
I know. We all are.
Yeah, I'm a hermit, so I don't.
That counts. That scores
start with H.
No, that scores a lot of hipster points.
That's what I mean, my general aversion to pop culture, I think.
Actually, yeah, perhaps you aren't. No, you're not a hipster. Come to think of it, I don't know if you have any hipster tendencies whatsoever.
Yeah.
Let me see.
We could buy you
really
some mustache wax.
Yeah.
The beard thing, actually, to be honest with you, the beard thing, I think I'm over that.
I think I'm done with the beard before beards were cool.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. I actually shave now. I had a fucking beard for 10 years. And
Mine's kind of growing on me a little bit.
No, go for it, man. That's good.
Oh, I hit the wrong button.
I'm sorry.
Exactly. I had a beard for years, and now everybody just has these long, epic beards, and I just can't. It's gross.
I just hate my face, and I hate shaving. So, like,
yeah, I've only recently adapted to it. Is you fucking with me? What are you doing? What do you want? Sorry. What's going on? What's happening?
I don't know.
Joey, go ahead. Or no, you were talking about. I don't know. Whatever. Go ahead. Sean was saying something, and I cut you off. And I apologize.
It must not have been that important.
It was though. Wrecking Crew, Unsung Heroes, copyright.
Yeah, just the idea that you need a bibliography. You know, as long as the people are credited in this day and age with the technology that we have, there's no reason that your online liner notes or whatever you want to call it can't include, you know, the records, pun intended, of who is, part of that song. So if you're going to make a song that includes, 20 samples from all these old songs, as long as you, point the way to those songs, I have no issue with that creation.
And what's so funny too is like, I think that arguably is what I love about that type of art is finding where those references are from.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I love that. That's why I love Joyce. That's why I love James Joyce. It's just finding those little hidden fucking references and unearthing as many as possible. So again, why I love hip hop. Just knowing those little samples and where they're coming from and really just digging and being like, God damn it, where the hell is that? And, I love that shit. I almost, I'm fine with being able to figure out which again gets me back onto Hamilton, by the way. Hamilton is a fucking wealth of references.
Yeah. I think it also gets down to how much you put into the creation, though. So, there are some songs that literally just play the music from something else and then like throw a what and a huh behind it every once in a while. But like, was it the Sting, the Every Breath You Take, who was the rapper
Puff Daddy.
Is that Puffy? Sean Puffy Combs, another Sean. But yeah, I mean, to me, that was
seems like yesterday we used to
that was a very lazy effort. And I don't think the song, they literally played the song and then just, did some, I think if it becomes part of another creation, if it becomes part of something else, I'm totally cool.
Well, it was a tribute song though. And so like the lyrics themselves, I mean, in many ways there's an art to that itself, because if you have all these layers of it depends on the song, you know what I mean? There was a reason why it was just that sample of the Police
and that's
song.
true. It goes back into the olden style of they would have a songwriter and then everyone would just release their version of that song, and it doesn't really matter.
Sure.
Elvis had a version, and
but You're right. I would almost go so far as to specify the fact that it's that, form is what follows the function. So it's more so a question of like, so if you just, you wouldn't use a whole complicated arrangement to sing a sad song. You know what I mean? Typically, you'd have very simple minor chords just kind of going through. So because the core of it, I mean, I know we can think of some examples, but not really. For the most part, it's the music of it.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know. I could go into many different reasons, but I ultimately I don't know, man.
I have an interesting theory there. Maybe.
Sure, go ahead.
I was going to say maybe the sadness in music is almost like sadness in emotion now. It's just a simple sadness. It's more so like a base emotion. So we're not going to try to go complicated scales and chords here.
Right.
We're just going to play one big, deep, dark note.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, you said it better. You said what was in my head. I didn't know how to
I'm
externalize
thinking
it.
almost
You're right.
like the beginning of the song Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath, where it's like, bum, bum,
Please tell me that's on the
bum.
album Black Sabbath.
Yeah, probably.
That's why I love Bad Company.
Bad Company.
Off Bad Company.
But I mean, the most classic sad song, dun dun dun,
For sure.
dun dun dun.
What is
Oh,
it?
right,
the Funeral March.
Yeah, Funeral March. I mean, it's usually simple like that. So I guess that's my point. It's not a question. So a song like that had to do more with what was behind it and why it was there. Now, that's not to say there aren't examples of songs that are just lazy like that. What's a good? Poor Wyclef. I don't know why I'm putting him on blast, but Staying Alive, right? He had that one song, Wyclef. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
He had
did
Gone
a
Till
version of-
November.
No, he had plenty. His whole album is great.
I thought you meant he had one hit.
No. I'm saying that the only example I can think of right now, the one example I can think of right now off the top of my head was when Wyclef just used "Staying Alive" across the board for his whole song.
Yeah.
Which I can agree with you. I understand. Although I didn't really mind. It was cool.
Well, and I mean, like
I mind.
it's kind of like riding on the shoulders of giants. It just feels like kind of a cheat, like just going back and finding something that already works and attaching your name to it. So it's like me re-releasing Star Wars, the Sean edition, where I just kind of like stick my face in there somewhere.
I guess, but I mean, if you're rapping on top of it, if you're rapping on top of it, and you've got
right, and I said
16 bars of music, of lyrics, to you know what I mean. Go ahead.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of like that fair use thing of like depending on how much you change it, and it's a sort of I know it when I see it sort of thing.
Okay, well then, how much do the lyrics themselves attribute to the song?
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about copyright law, especially in music, there's that division between the music and the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So, the writer of the lyrics gets one copyright and the writer of the song gets another copyright. So if you're just taking someone else's song and singing over it, then you only should get the copyright, right?
Sure.
And is that how it works, though? I mean,
I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, it is how it
I don't know, but if
think
that's
so.
what you're saying, then I guess
So,
I
I
was
mean-
talking more on a moral level.
Yeah, but I mean, like, who did this "Staying Alive" song? That
Originally
wasn't
the
I
Bee
think
Gees.
there's only two
The Bee Gees.
copyrights.
Oh, that is the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically what I'm asking is for all of those Wyclef, it was Wyclef that did the,
Mhm.
okay, so for all of those Wyclef albums that were sold, were the Bee Gees getting a cut of that?
Sure. Well, I don't know about a cut of each album that was sold. I would imagine that there was like a licensing that came initially.
Okay, yeah. So
You
there
pay
were-
for the license of it, and maybe there's a portion of it. But ultimately, I don't know if it's the Bee Gees specifically, or if it's going to the record
Well,
company
that gets
owns
into the whole
song.
corporatocracy
Yeah, exactly.
of the bullshit and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the
But-
money behind it, but is that what it comes down to for you? Is the money? Is
I mean,
No, okay,
as
so
most things
here's-
do for me.
Okay,
yeah.
Guys,
That's fine.
here's the thing there. So there's two copyrights. There's one for the lyrics and
Mhm.
one for the actual music. But the music doesn't go to the musicians. It goes to,
the
as you say,
person
it's
who holds
the
music
production
rights.
company.
Yeah.
Usually, it's Warner Brothers or something.
Right.
So in that case, if you're using the person's music, that money is never going to go to the songwriter because you're not even using their lyrics.
Right, in an ideal world.
So it's just going to go to whoever the production company.
Oh,
is.
so
Whoever-
usually the
it's whoever
songwriter-
owns the master. That's
so the
Right.
writer holds on to the lyrics, though?
yes.
So, like,
they have their own separate licensing.
the sync license they call
But
it.
I always thought that like it was the same thing. So like the companies own the music and the companies own the lyrics. But you're saying
No.
that most of the time
Lyrics
so
can be
like
separate with the songwriter.
so it's the guy
I don't know
the
if
guy that
that's
writes
true.
the words gets a better deal than the guy that writes the tune.
The production company could buy the lyrics from the person,
Okay.
but usually the songwriter is the person who starts
Gotcha.
with the rights.
Right. on.
I believe the master rights refers to the recording itself.
Yeah, that goes with a company usually.
Well, I know, but what
Well,
I'm saying is that's not just the music. That's the recording of it.
That's a third.
It's all of it.
That's
yeah.
a third one though.
Right.
So that's using that recording, but then someone else owns you reproducing that song.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And someone else owns you reproducing those words. So there's three different copyrights.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So like
No, I'm trying to get it straight in my head.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think it's still two. If you re-record the song, that's still part of the sync license. That's not part of the master license. The master license, as far as I understand,
license?
yes, there's two. There's the sync license, which has to do with the music itself. The music and the lyrics, whatever the song is itself, is just the song. So if you were to hire a band and play the exact same song that already exists, all you would need to purchase was the sync license for that amount of use. Whether you put it in a movie or whether you put it in a fucking album, whatever it is, you're just using the sync license. If you're going to, specifically for a movie, if you're going to use the actual song itself, you need to get both the sync and the master license.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But there's only two. It's just the sync license.
But the sync
and
is usually with the
license.
songwriter, and the master is usually with the production
Typically,
company.
yes.
Typically,
Oh,
yes.
Typically, yes.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Usually, whoever paid for the recording of it owns the
which is
recording
usually
of it
the
itself.
company.
Gotcha. So it's not the separation of the words and the music. It's
No.
the separation of the written
The
song
idea of the
versus
song
recorded
versus
song.
the recorded of the song.
Copy that.
Exactly.
Okay. Understood.
Pun intended. Or no pun intended, but
Yeah.
in any
Totes
event, no,
free.
I don't really. I don't really have a problem with it. It's fine. Anything that uses a particular amount of creativity, I'm cool with it. I don't mind. If the fucking song's not good, it's not good. If it's good, it's good. If you just used the same song and did a cover of it, but it's a good, interesting cover of it, that's fine. What's the difference? I mean, like,
Well, my
you
music
know what I
teacher
mean?
There's
used
a
to
huge
always
difference
say
there.
something like this.
Well, like, okay, so we got Joe Cocker. Joe Cocker just,
Covers a lot.
covering
Everything.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I'm a
You're thinking
specific
of the Wonder
example,
Years
right?
one,
She
right?
came in through the bathroom window. or-
No.
No, you're thinking of the Beatles one.
Yeah, exactly. Little Help from My Friends.
Yeah.
So that's a great cover of it, arguably better than the original song itself, right?
No.
It's not arguable.
Nah.
You can't argue that song's a little bit better.
You can
As a
argue
hipster, I would
anything,
say
just like
no.
I can sue you for anything, but that doesn't necessarily.
You're arguing against the Beatles here, buddy. I guess you're arguing against
Dang.
Ringo Starr.
There's an
singing.
argument to be made about it that it could be
You're
better.
saying
I don't
Joe
think
Cocker's
it is
version is
either.
better than the original Beatles version.
Sure.
decent.
You could make that argument in
He
many
is
different
making
ways.
that
If you didn't watch the Wonder,
I'm
if you
not
didn't have the
making
Wonder
that argument.
Years, you
I
would not be
actually don't
making that
think
argument.
that's true at all. I don't think it's true.
Wait, the Wonder Years is Cocker, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it's
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah.
That's why it's popular, sure, but even still, it's a soulful version of it. I mean, anyway, whatever.
I actually like Joe Cocker. Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
Right, exactly. I agree with you. I'm pretty sure the Beatles version is better than that, but I'm willing to hear the argument, and people would make that argument that Joe Cocker's version is better.
Not many. Not
Fine.
many. Not many
All right,
musical
all along
critics.
The Watchtower. All along hey, we cool with that one? All along the
Sure, if you
Watchtower.
want to completely switch it up. Yeah.
Fine. My point is just to make an argument
Wasn't
that
that
there's a cover
Hendrix?
that's better. Yeah, Hendrix
that-
over
okay,
Bob Dylan.
covers.
Yeah, their
Right.
cover's better, and it's interestingly enough, you're right. Dylan will say that Hendrix's cover is better.
Precisely right. So okay. So but is there any?
Oh wait, it was Dylan first, then Hendrix,
Yeah,
and
Bob Dylan
then Joe
wrote-
Cocker.
No. So this is a different song altogether.
Okay.
Bob Dylan wrote All Along the Watchtower. Jimi
Okay.
Hendrix covered it famously in a
Wait,
much.
yeah, but there was a more recent version of that then?
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a ton of them.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
U2,
ton. Of
Dave Matthews.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Prince even did
Um,
one.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Prince did
yeah.
one at the
He used
Super
to
Bowl.
cover everything though.
Yeah, he did. In any event, my point is that is there less creativity put into there? Perhaps, maybe. I mean, but what difference does it make? It's a good song.
I mean, it's the performance. It's the difference
Right,
between
exactly.
hitting play and actually being musically talented
Well-
enough to play a song.
Well, yeah, but then musically talented enough to write the lyrics over a song. Like if you write a whole fucking rap lyric over a song that existed, how is that any different from being a guitar virtuoso who can play the same song that already exists?
Yeah, no, I mean,
In many ways, it's even more complicated because you're writing the lyrics themselves from nothing. You know what I mean? You have nothing.
Yeah, I see what
coming
you're
from
saying. My guitar teacher used to always say it's okay to do that as long as you're putting your own spin on it or like putting your own face on it or whatever. So if that guitar player is mixing it up a little bit and changing a few notes here or there and using his own style on it, that's more acceptable. But I see what your point there because
Yeah.
the rapper is creating out of thin air, and it's even more creative and more its own spin on it than even just kind of mixing up the
Arguably,
music
yeah.
a little bit. Arguably, I see the point though.
Yeah. Cool.
I
Thank
don't
you.
quite agree, but I do see that point.
Oh,
That-
what do you disagree with?
I
Weird Al plays everything.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I just have a problem with. I wish that more people would go back to the original. I don't see an answer to it necessarily on how you do it. I guess just citing your sources is better, but no one really reads the liner notes. No one really reads your
But see,
footnotes.
but why isn't your frustration with that person who's not doing the
Educating
research? Yeah, who's not
themselves.
educating themselves behind it. Like it has nothing to do with the artist.
because they're just
making their
listening. Let's say
shit.
they're just listening to a song on the radio or something like that. How are they going to get the background? Is it their job?
But you are mad about the fact that they don't understand where it's coming from, right?
Yeah, that's just the state of radio today, unfortunately, where there's no like real DJs anymore. It's just all that automated bullshit where they just play a song and they play a song
That's a
and they
good
play a
point.
song. When I was delivering pizzas, as we've talked about before, one of the radio stations I did listen to that was non-talk was 97.1 The Drive, where they used to play classic rock, and they like especially the nighttime DJs. They would, do a whole spiel about the songs. They would give you background information and context about the songs, which actually, made it a lot more impactful. And, especially to someone that was in his 20s or whatever and had never been exposed to that sort of music before, it was, a better, a better way to experience it than just a randomness, popping up as they do today. Like from, especially talking to Wheeler's girlfriend, apparently she only listens to like 30 seconds max of a song, and then gets that flavor, and then goes to the next song and listens
only
to about 30 seconds of a song or so. Yeah,
no, but I mean all the time.
yeah, like that's how she listens to music.
But
apparently.
didn't she? I listened to this episode. Doesn't she also like trailers instead of movies? Like
Yeah,
she's like
exactly.
short thing.
Yeah.
But that's understandable.
What's the disease? You just have like short-term memory loss.
Yeah, ADD or
Well, I used to call it music ADD, and I used to have it. Because people would get pissed at me when I'd be DJing. I'd be listening to 30 seconds and be like, let's try something else. Man, let's try something else. And they would say I had music ADD.
Yeah.
So that might
Depends
be
on the song. If you know where it's going,
Yeah.
then sure.
Some
Wait,
songs
yeah,
get
and today's
repetitive, and you're just
stuff
like,
is
I
just
got
all-
it.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm the same way. If there's not a song that that warrants you listening to
Story
the whole
songs,
thing,
bro.
I'm with you. I agree, man.
They're called ballads,
The,
Sean.
Is it really?
Yeah, ballad.
Okay.
A ballad is a song that tells a story.
Really? I always think of ballad as like being a
Sad, soulful.
Yeah, well, like a love thing or like
Well,
something.
originally they kind of were. Most of the ballads were actually the original folk songs that, and they were all about like your love killed herself or something like that. Like, and these old folk songs that kind of got passed along, and they became kind of like the original blues songs, actually.
What's the Harry Chapin one about the father?
Father and son.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The
That's Cat
child arrived
Stevens.
just.
Yeah.
Cat Stevens. That's the other one. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's.
It's not time to make a change.
Oh, go ahead.
Sit back and make it easy.
I'm gonna make Sean cry.
Yeah, no. But I mean that's
You're
not like
too
a
young.
traditional love song. I didn't think you would classify that as a ballad. But yeah.
Well,
could,
they
sure.
tell stories, and the stories are usually tragic, romantic love songs. Usually,
Okay.
there's just stories about losing your lover and that kind of thing. I was also going to say that they're often called broadsides. This is kind of a cool little thing. Broadsides are like these single sheets of inexpensive paper, what they would often print a ballad on, and they would call them broadsides, and they would kind of like pass them along to people, and that would be the printed 19th century.
Oh yeah,
songs.
before recorded
cool.
music sort of
Yeah.
thing. Like that's how.
It's actually there's a whole interesting history there of folk music and a lot of the
Fuck
interesting
music.
Folk
folk,
music.
folk.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Sorry, that's my accent. a good album, actually, if you
music's
guys are
rad, man.
interested in these kind of things. Everly Brothers, songs that my daddy taught me, and Everly Brothers are a really great band. Another hipster choice of mine.
Are they
they're-
hipster, you think?
They're a hipster band.
Well, because they're like the first of they're very influential in harmonies. So like they influenced Simon
Wait,
and
what are their
Garfunkel, the
songs?
Beach Boys, Beatles. Was
What are some Everly Brothers songs?
Unchained Melody is probably the one that.
No, that's Righteous
That's right.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh shit, you're right. Sorry.
So, dream.
Oh, okay.
Right. Jesus Christ, you're right.
Yeah, like those are really wow.
You just fucked everything up just now.
For some reason, that makes me think of like Frankie Valli. But
It's a similar period, early '60s kind of.
gotcha.
Anyways, these
My
guys
just
were.
obsession with
Makes me
falsetto.
think of ladybugs.
But
Rodney
I love
That
that
movie.
album, guys. So songs
And
my
Jonathan
daddy
Brandis.
taught me. Check that out.
Sure, okay.
What was that? I'm sorry?
Songs my daddy taught
me.
It's because it takes these old ballads and they kind of do a nicer, beautiful harmony on top of them. I think you dig it.
Oh, right on.
Anyways,
Word.
okay. I don't know where to go from here. I'm kind of done. Do you guys have any other issues you want to talk about with music?
As far as music's concerned, I mean, well, you didn't give us. You said blues. You said,
Oh, do you want me to give you more of what I am into?
What's your top 5 then?
yeah. Do you have top 5 albums? Oh, I forgot to add The Wall.
Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yeah. He's rolling his eyes. Are you a Dark Side guy or you just hate Pink Floyd?
No, I hate The Wall specifically, mainly because of the movie.
Okay.
I just knew so many people that were obsessed with
I'm
that.
not big on the movie either.
Yeah, it just seems like symbolism for dummies, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, no, I'm not big on the movie.
Fair enough. It is heavy. It's
That's my eye
heavy-handed.
roll.
It's
Yeah.
fine. No, I got you.
It definitely
Flower
beats you
pussies,
over the
I
head with
get it,
hammers, if you will.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Sorry, it's a very shitty reference. Okay, my top 5. Ironically, I would put Dark Side somewhere in there. I love Dark Side of the Moon. I think it's a fantastic album. I like Pink Floyd, actually. Sorry, but my top 5.
Do you ever do that fucking
Wizard of Oz
bullshit?
I have, but I'll tell you one that's better.
Dude, fuck that bullshit, man.
One that's better. Listen to Pink Floyd's Echoes with the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey. The last part, Jupiter and the Infinite, lines up perfectly with Echoes. I
Jupiter and
guarantee
the
you,
Infinite lines up with fucking anything, man.
maybe it does, but it
Of
sounds.
course it does.
But it sounds really good. And also, there's a theory that
I've
the
never gotten
conspiracy
through
theory that Pink
2001.
Floyd was supposed to do the soundtrack
Really?
for that.
Pink Floyd was supposed to do the soundtrack for
Theoretically,
2001.
like Kubrick
Weird.
kind of wanted their music.
Hmm.
It was very spacey. They've also later alluded to it in their Live from Pompeii
Really?
documentary, where they had a
No
similar.
way, dude. Fucking 2001 came out in 68. How the fuck is Pink Floyd? Pink Floyd wasn't around in the mid 60s.
Yeah, they were.
Not a clue.
Yeah,
I don't think so,
Metal was
dude.
1967.
What do you mean Metal was?
Metal was the
their
album with Echoes, is what the song I'm talking about.
Oh, I
today.
see what you're saying. Oh, in the Sid Barrett days, you're talking.
This is
Yeah.
right after
I'm sorry,
Sid
you're
Barrett
right.
left.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
When did fucking Dark Side of the Moon come out? I thought that was like 70.
That was 73.
Was it that? Like, because The Wall is fucking 1980, I think, right?
Is it really?
80 or
yeah,
81?
it's like 79, I think The Wall is.
I thought it was like 80 or 81.
Okay, so, oh, wow. Metal is 71. My bad.
Yeah, I'm saying. I didn't think so.
Sorry. But Dark Side is 73.
Okay.
73?
Where did you hear that Kubrick wanted? Because it's Ligeti, dude. There's no fucking way he wanted Pink
I mean, I'm
Floyd
just saying
music.
conspiracy theory. I don't know. That's
Some bull. Yeah, I don't buy that at all. No way.
Do your own research, people.
No way. I don't buy that shit. In
tweet
even
me
a
at
heartbeat.
Joe Bonier.
It's fucking. But you go from like, oh, I can't get echoes. Do you have a Ligeti?
All right.
Sorry. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Kind of Blue. Kind of Blue is maybe the
Yeah,
best
Kind of
jazz
Blue
album
is
of all
fucking
time. I might have
amazing.
listened to that album, I don't know, a million fucking times in my life because I used to listen to it before I went to sleep every night.
Who's that?
Kind of Blues,
Miles
Miles
Davis.
Davis. But it has kind of like
Arguably
a
the greatest
dream
jazz
team
song,
of
or jazz
jazz stars in there. Bill Evans. Bill Evans is the piano player I'm kind of obsessed with. A lot of guitar players have these weird obsessions with jazz musicians. For instance, Duane Allman was obsessed with John Coltrane. He would listen to John Coltrane solos before he would play a guitar solo all the time. I don't know. A lot of people love Miles Davis's solos. I happen to love Coltrane. I think Coltrane just has this different kind of way of phrasing that I happen to like a lot. And I love that album, Kind of Blue. So you asked me that, one of my favorite jazz albums.
Coltrane was on the sax for Kind of Blue.
Yeah, for sure. And
Who did his drums?
I think Philly Joe Jones.
I think that's right.
Guess. I'll have to do that. Also, I love McCoy Tyner. If you guys are interested, another more jazz piano player. McCoy Tyner was Coltrane's piano player for a long time.
Word.
Anyways, okay.
Sax I've always liked Illinois Jacquette.
What?
I always say Jacquette. It's probably Jacquette, but I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever. So sax
Like
jazz.
Django Reinhardt?
Ironically, Django is an amazing guitar player who only played with 2 fingers. It's pretty crazy. Jimmy Cobb was the drummer from Kind of Blue. Sorry.
Oh, god damn it. That's right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Um,
Musically, I mean, okay, so we didn't get to the biggest philosophical question, why we listen to it.
Yeah, that's
We just
true.
kind of
actually.
rambled some bullshit.
You're
but,
right.
like-
I answered that question right off.
You did?
Mhm.
What was your answer? I'm sorry.
Music is the soundtrack of our lives.
When the politicians keep politicking before you turn to excessive drinking, spend some time collectively politinkering with the show where I don't know, man. 'Cause the truth is I don't know, man. I
don't know, man.
Yeah, why aren't we singing? We should be singing.
No, man.
I don't know, man. I'm so fucking off key.
Yeah, we got to sing for the music episode.
Yeah, I know. That was stupid. Sorry.
Lazy bastard.
What are you looking at, Yuri?